Hi, this is Robert Badje.
This is Cole Ogden.
Hey, this is Elliot Booth.
Hey guys, Jared Tebow here.
This is Ryan Lutz.
Hi everyone, this is Mike Craddock.
Hi, this is Richard Saxton.
This is Tyler Jones.
This is the Mini Viking Telekomsi.
Nitro is the Glory Ray Keenan.
This is Mark Johnston from rcparts.co.nz.
Hi, this is Luca Honas from Taiwan.
Hi, I am Adam Fikri and this is my little brother,
Khalif Nu'man.
This is Lee Martin.
Hey guys, this is Camden Lime.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Mayfield.
Hey everybody, this is Tim Smith from the TSR Speedshop.
This is the ridiculous one, Jay Smoker, and you're listening to the No Name RC Podcast. Ridiculous! Woo!
Hey, it's JQ here. You're listening to the No Name RC Podcast with Lefty, the No Name.
Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC Podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish Village Idiot, JQ. This is the RC Podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed, Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 50 of the No Name RC Podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great, and woo, we've reached half a century, everybody. 50 runs. You know, in cricket, like 50 runs is a big deal. In cricket, like if you made 50 runs at a big game in Bermuda, like in a county game or in a cup match game, people would take up a collection from the crowd, and then when you made your 50 runs, you run under and you get a collection. Some guys just get a few $100s, maybe $1,000 or whatever, depending how popular you was. So to me, 50 is like getting 50 runs in a cricket game. For you guys that don't know what cricket is, go check it out. It came before baseball. But yeah, we're at 50 episodes, almost a year in. We're almost on our year anniversary. And you know what? Rupert Pumpernickel can take that and put it in his pipe and smoke it, because he never said we was gonna make it to 50 episodes. And you know what? We have, and I owe it all to the No Name RC Podcast listeners from around the world. So I'm super excited about this. I'm super excited about the guests that we have this week. We did a little competition. If you want to know who the guest, if you want to know if you won that competition, you have to listen to the podcast because it's announced who the winner is. So, man, thank you to all of the listeners. It's been an awesome year. Well, it'll be a year on November 13th, our first episode ever dropped. But the love that we've been getting for the podcast, you know, when I go to races and all that stuff, I appreciate it, man. We can't do it without that NNRC squad from around the world, man. And I'm super happy to be on 50 episodes. Well, it's really 64 with the RCGP, but just for the NNRC. And next milestone for us is obviously like 100, but that's going to be next year sometime. But we're trying to go for that 100,000 download, which is almost there. We might make it by the end of the year, but it depends. Like, things are slowing down RC wise. So thank you to all of the No Name RC Podcast listeners around the world. 2020 is going to be awesome. We got some big things planned, like Rupert's coming down here. We're going to do some things to the studio, all this type of stuff. And we're going to be bringing content, like serious content next year. Hopefully be traveling to more races, doing more podcasting there or whatever. But yeah, we're going deep. You know, we did a whole year, cut our teeth, learn how to do things. Still learning this new equipment. But so excited, so happy. And you know what, Rupert? 50 episodes. And you know what? I couldn't have done it without Rupert too and a few other people that support us. So I appreciate that. So thank you to everybody. This episode is dedicated to all of you guys, all of you. If I could give you, each one of you, something, I would, but I can't because I don't. But we do have No Name RC Podcast shirts at a limited supply. Joseph has them in the States. When he gets back to the States, we'll ship some out. So if you do want a shirt, just hit me up and I'll hit up Joseph and we'll try to get, if you have your size, we'll get it sent out to you. Every little bit helps. And Maybe we'll get some decals up where you can go and order them from somewhere. So we'll see what happens. But thank you to everybody, man. I'm super happy. I'm proud, and I'm just joyed to be doing this. I'm glad that Joseph and other people kind of pushed me to do this because I was so nervous about doing it. But I'm so passionate about what we do here, what I do, what everybody does, like bringing this content and talking about RC, because I love RC. I love the people that I meet at the tracks and get to hang out with, like my extended family. Love my JQ family, but it's just more than just a JQ family. It's everybody that's in RC that I get to talk to and interact with that I enjoy. And I wouldn't trade any of this for the world. So thank you all for the support. Before I go on and call Joseph, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Obviously, we have RCMX Online, Euro RC, just RC, no bullshit. Those are our two title sponsors. Please go check out their websites at rcmxonline.com and eurorc.com. Remember, you do get in the written description of this podcast are all the promo codes for our sponsors. Because remember, showing our sponsors some love shows the podcast some love. So we appreciate all of our sponsors and you guys that support them. Shout out to Assault RC, the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment this week. Tekno RC, we will have a Tekno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. Thank you to Tekno RC, greatly appreciate it. Tekno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in competitive, dependable, affordable 8th and 10th scale buggies and trucks for racers and RC enthusiasts. Visit www.teknorc.com for a complete catalog of their vehicles, parts, hop-ups, and accessories. Remember, guys, just mention me and maybe they'll give you a discount. I don't know. We have nothing set up with Tekno RC, but Matt Walters, good people. And, hey, thank you to Tekno for their support. Assault RC is your go-to for all performance enhancement needs. Lube, specialty tools, gauges, tool holders. Assault RC is the place to find what you need. Remember, go to assaultrc.com. Use promo code in all caps Lefty19 to get 10% off your order. Onto BK Servers, another support of the podcast. Thank you for all the support these last few months. Stress performance for value. Our servers are extremely high performance, especially the models like the DS-702HV, super fast and precise at a fraction of the cost of other high-end servers. Also, check out the DS-S-HT model for your 10 scale and 8 scale needs. BK servers are used by top drivers like Max the Panda Floor, Jared Wiggins, and of course, Mr. Party himself, Brent Densford of Beach RC uses them as well. Had a nice Masters of Dirt race as well this weekend. Looks like it was a lot of fun. Congratulations to Brent. Bipolar Designs. My buddy Jason Darling is pushing out some great decals for you. Check them out on Facebook at Bipolar Designs. You can check out the link in our page. On our written description. And or hit up Jason Darling on Facebook. He goes, if you're looking for custom decals for your RC cars, look no further. Bipolar Designs have you covered, matching your paint scheme to your radio, headsets, pitboard, you name it, we covered. Bipolar Designs. Check them out. Tell them you heard about us on the No Name RC podcast, or Lefty sent you, and he will hook you up. 454 RC Works, my buddy Clint Treadway. He's down there pushing out a whole bunch of 3D printed and carbon fiber parts for cars. Check them out at 454rcworks.com or Facebook. Go to their Facebook page, give them a like, or the Instagram. They actually have an Instagram page as well. So you can use the promo code NNPC 2019 in all caps, and you will get 15% off your order. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic. Got to get the owner of this on the podcast because he actually has a podcast as well dedicated to Dirt Oval. But go to papawillies.net. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic has you covered for your RC tire traction needs. Whether you race on carpet, concrete or dirt, loose dirt, dry, slick, or high grip surfaces, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic cures poor traction. So go to papawillies.net. Use promo code NNRC at checkout for 10% off your order. And of course, shout out to my JQ Racing family around the world. Jerome Donuts RC just pushed out their team lineup for 2020. Looks pretty good. Got some fast young French guys. We're looking forward to 2020. We had a lot of great results this year. Remember, be a part of a team, not just a number. We will be taking applicants for the 2020 team coming up soon. Remember, don't try to fit in. Go where you're accepted. You know, that's our motto. We accept everybody. We want people that want to have fun, race RC cars, be a part of a family, because that's what it kind of is with the JQ Racing family. So if you're interested in that, hit us up. We'll be announcing our team applicants for 2020, and I'm looking forward to 2020 as well. Should be a good year. Lots of racing going to be happening. We'll be at all the big races, and yeah, so it's going to be a good year. So thank you to all my JQ Racing family around the world, because really, that's how it started for me. And if it wasn't for the support of, if Joseph didn't give me a chance, number one, and if it wasn't for the support of the people that believe in what we're doing at JQ Racing, I wouldn't even be doing this podcast at the moment. So thank you to everybody. And big shout out to my good buddy, Brent Dansford at Beach RC, another big supporter of this. And had a great race, man. I'm going to get Lucas on her next week to talk about his travels and, Masters of Dirt. And I look forward to seeing Brent and the boys at Fall Bro next month. So, yeah, it's November now, so next month. Anyway, without further ado, let me call Rupert, see what's up with him. And then we'll go from there, because we have a few Facebook questions, few news things we have to go over. Joseph has traveled back to Finland. So, all right, let me call up Mr. Pumpernickels, Rupert Pumpernickels. What's going on, Rupert? How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the office in Finland. Yeah.
How's the weather there?
I think I'll do a Facebook Live, actually.
Yeah, how's the weather there in Finland? Is it getting cold?
Right about 0, a couple of plus degrees now. So there's a tiny bit of snow on the ground in places. But yeah.
Yeah, I bet you don't like that, because amazingly, you're from Finland, but detest the cold weather. Like, I don't get that. You and Max, I don't understand that. You should actually be used to it.
I just shouldn't have been born here in this country, I think.
Well, fortunately you were, because probably made up a bit of...
I don't know, but fortunately I figured it out to where I can live my life and I can be 6 months somewhere warm and 6 months in Finland.
And that's the thing, though. You even when it's too hot, you complain. It's too hot. I'm melting like a snowflake.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I like it to be right about like 25 degrees and pretty dry.
I'm a snowflake. I'm melting.
Nice.
So anyway,
I don't
Joseph,
like it too cold or too hot.
So anyway, Joseph, you're in Finland, and then you're there for a few days, and then you're off to Asia, and then back to Finland, then back to California, then Myrtle Beach, then DR, and then...
Sounds like fun. Sounds like the end of the year is going to be fun.
Yeah. It's going to be cool. Come down, chill out here in the DR for Christmas, New Year's.
Right, chill out. We have some serious
we have
work to be done.
Yeah, we do. So, yeah, we'll see about. Anyway. Enough about all that. You know what episode this is? Do you know what episode this is?
Yes. How could I not know?
It's episode 50. 50.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you say 50 in Finnish?
50.
50. Yeah.
Actually,
you know what?
50, but no one says that.
Because it's too long. Who's going to say that?
Yeah. 50, we say 50.
Finnish guys, man. I'm telling you. It's so... Hold on. Say it again. It's episode 50, right? I didn't hear that.
50.
Right. So here we are. 45 more episodes than you thought I would do. Almost at a year.
Yeah.
Almost at a year. You owe me an apology and a pat on the back. Let's go. Do it right here in public so everybody hears it.
Well, you haven't actually done episode 50, so...
See what I mean?
To do anything.
See what I mean? Can't even get any congratulations from this guy. But yes, it's episode 50, and I'm super pumped about it. It couldn't be done with all the people that listen in, and
couldn't be done without me.
It couldn't be done with all the people that listen in and support the No Name RC podcast. So, couldn't be done without you. Yes, you have been integral in part. And stop, I can hear the mic is scraping along your collar. You still haven't figured that part out yet.
Oh, God.
But thank you to everybody that has supported us over, it's almost a year. It'll be a year, the 13th of November, I think. I published the first episode last year. So nervous when I think back to when that happened. I was so nervous. Like, we have a whole episode that I'm not even gonna release because it was so bad, in my opinion. So
really,
yeah.
When was that?
It was the first one
remember.
It was the first one we ever recorded. It was
really?
not good. It was not good. So
One
maybe
day we have to release it.
Yeah, well, we're trying to start a new Patreon thing. Maybe I'll release it there. We'll see what happens. But 50 episodes, dude, and it's been a ride. I mean, I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to 2020. So, hey, congratulations to you too, because you've been there to record, and I couldn't do it without you. So I give you some thanks as well. So, and to all the people involved that help this happen. So, and of course to all of our sponsors. So, good stuff. All right, dude. So what's going on in the world of RC? The first thing you messaged me, it's Friday here, and I wake up and I see this message talking about Enzo Kanai has left Kyosho. Now I had to think about it for a second. I was like, is he talking about the real Kanai? That's what I thought you was talking about at first. And then I saw it was Enzo Albertoni. He's left Kyosho, but I'm not surprised. He kind of hinted that he was leaving. Rizzo has gone, which is his mentor. He's gone to X-Ray. So I assume that's probably where Enzo's going, because he does race a lot of 10 scale. Good guy. I like Enzo though. Great guy. Maybe if he had 10 scale, he would come JQ or some way to get a 10 scale. You need to work on that, Joseph. Figure out how to get our guys 10 scale opportunities some way, somehow.
10 scale opportunities.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're pretty good at figuring those things out. Come on, figure it out. All right. Anything else going on in the world of RC? We got 3 races going on this weekend. You got the Fallout in Washington. It's an indoor race. You have Tim Lime's race at the US Open, and the track looks really nice. Like, Bobby did a great job. They've actually made the track bigger. It goes out more now from, at Joey Shower's track, the SCRC track.
Yeah.
So I think, remember, it was like kind of a bank on the backstretch. Well, now it's going out a little bit more. It's definitely further away. So they have a lot more space, and they've built a pretty big track, and they have a bunch of people coming to that race. So it's definitely a big race, something we probably have to look to do next year, I would say.
When is it?
It is this weekend. So I don't know when it will be next weekend. Yeah. It was in October last year, but I think Tim kind of moved it to fit in RCGP. And you know who else's track is looking badass, man? And Tony Schumacher's track, man. Anthony went down there, Factory Tracks. He went down there and did a new layout. Man, we need to go visit Tony and go run some laps on his track, because it's very nice. I'll send you some pics later.
Am I allowed there?
Yeah, Tony likes you, except he doesn't like you on Facebook. So he's pretty cool. You can go there, but I don't know. Maybe you'll become a permanent jump if you go there too. So, and what's that new jump?
Kind of far out in the desert.
Maybe what's that new jump out there? Oh, that's the Quagrain jump. Why is that? That's where JQ always crashes. But really, you'd be buried there. So, who knows?
Might happen.
Yeah, it just might.
Arizona's an open carry state.
Yeah, and
I remember I was at a race. This was when the DNC was in, what was it? Fear Farm, yeah. So the last place it's been when it was in Arizona. And it's an open carry state, I guess. So I got a local guy to be my pick guy, and he had a gun on his belt. I just remember always, I was just thinking to myself, I shouldn't get mad at him, yell at him from the driver's stand.
No,
because
maybe
he might, instead of, putting fuel in the tank, he might shoot me.
Well, he would have done the world a favor, I think. So,
Yeah, so I was trying to be nice.
Yeah, it kind of freaked me out too, because I was in Walmart and there was this dude just carrying I mean, I see guns and stuff here, because they're legal here, but there's lots of illegal guns. So, but it was pretty weird. But it is what it is, man. But he has a really great track. He's put a lot of effort in there. Anthony put in a great layout. I'm happy for SCRC, Joey Showers, Corbin Showers family. SCRC is getting real popular, and we definitely have to get back there, hang out with the Albuquerque guys, the Albuquerque crew, because they're a lot of fun. Jimmy, Mike, and DJ, the other Mike, and the other boys, and then we could go up and check out RC Riot, also in Albuquerque, that Jeff and Mike are running right now. So it'd be cool. We need to get back to New Mexico, definitely. So good luck to everybody at the U.S. Open. Good luck to everybody at Fallout, and then you have another race on the East Coast. First, the Blue Ridge Nationals, which is in a big indoor arena as well. And so it's got a lot of racing going on this weekend. So good stuff. So we have
Cavalieri.
What about Cavalieri? You just he's the guest this week. I asked him at RCGP, and we finally got around. He went to a race last weekend, so he talks about that race too, because something happened there. Talks about a little bit about his future. I'm not going to have any spoilers, and we do have a contest attached to that, because I put it on Facebook for anybody to guess who will be the guest for episode 50. And one guy did at first, and he has to listen. The person has to listen to the podcast to figure out who won, because Cav announces the winner during the podcast. So it was a good talk with Cav. I like Cav. He's my favorite racer. So I was all fanboyish, but I've gotten to know him the last couple of times, talking to him, and he's cool. It's just a regular dude who wants to win, just like all the other guys. So it was a good chat. He was very candid, and I appreciate that.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about it next episode then.
We can. I don't know. Talk about what?
Or maybe. Switches.
Well, nobody knows where he's switching yet, but yeah, it's pretty a known fact that he's done with Yokomo. Everybody knows that. That was what live. We knew that weeks ago. So, but yeah, he's done with Yokomo, but nobody knows where he's going for 10 scale or whatever. What he's gonna do for 10 scale in 2020. My gut. And he didn't tell me anything, but my gut is there's only 2 companies, maybe 3 that he can go. He can go full S-Works because they have 10 scale cars, but they obviously have to pay him more, and he'd have to travel more. Like S-Works have to pay more travel for him. I can honestly see him going to TLR. I think
he'll go S-Works.
Yeah, TLR. Maybe Serpent and maybe X-Ray, but I don't know. But I definitely think
X-Ray isn't an option. I think the only possible ones are S-Works for everything, or then TLR for everything, or Serpent.
Yeah, it will be interesting, but he's keeping it tight to his chest, and he's not letting everybody know. He does seem very happy with the S-Works stuff, so talking to him.
Yeah.
So maybe
Serpent might actually be open to a 10 scale only thing. Like it would be 8 scale S-Works, 10 scale Serpent.
Maybe we'll see, but
I don't know how good those 10 scale cars are right now either. So if he went to S-Works, they'd probably let him use whatever 10 scales he wants. That's pretty much what they did at the Worlds. They have 10 scale cars, but still the drivers ran like associated 2-wheel drives, I think.
Well, doesn't Jorn drives for Schumacher and S-Works, right? So
yeah, he runs Schumacher 10 scale, S-Works 8 scale.
You never know.
But there aren't any other 10 scale only brands.
The Schumacher might be an option. You never know.
I really don't think so.
Well, I heard that Orlowski is going to go move to England to go to school. So he's going to be in school, and he's not going to be racing now. I was listening to the Extra Lap podcast with Joey and Aidan, and they was talking about it. So,
what do you mean? What if he goes to England to school? Why wouldn't he be racing?
Well, school kind of gets in the way of racing a little bit,
No, it doesn't.
Oh gosh,
you can easily race RC cars and go to school. That's ridiculous.
Okay, but let's just put it this way: he won't be able to travel as much because he probably has to do school stuff. All right, does that make sense?
yeah, he can still easily race RC cars, do all the European Championships, World Championships, major races. It's not an issue.
All right, mister. I've done it all before, because you have.
Yeah, I have. I know. Other people have too.
Oh, gosh. Like every time you do this.
Yeah, but that's so... Oh, he's going to school. He can't race RC. That's ridiculous.
Anyway, anything else you want to add before we go into some questions, sir? Anything you've heard in the grapevine?
I heard RCGP was awesome and gate starts are the best.
Oh, yeah, I know. Just toot your own horn, why don't you? You know what?
I mean my own horn. It's not the fucking JQ.
I know.
GP, it's the RCGP.
But it was definitely, I think the overall, like 99% positive, man. A few people, like anything, it's not perfect. And that's what RCGP needs to listen to. Like, it's people that are being involved, that are racing it. But everybody's like, when is the next one? I mean, there's people asking for dates and locations of next year's race now. So, good stuff, man. I thought, I enjoyed it. Take a little breather now.
I hope more manufacturers join next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, I think the thing is that the people want it, and what the people want is what the manufacturer should give, and the people should
get. I mean, can you imagine that format and that racing with just, more top drivers, like add Mayfield in the mix, Robert at all the races, Boots, those guys.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Who else?
Tessman. I'd be
Rivkin.
amazing.
All those guys.
That'd be really good. It's
gonna happen, dude. You build it. If you make it happen, it will happen eventually. So,
I think you're trying to say if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I mean, Cav had a lot of positive things to say about it. He enjoyed it. He was like, they would, doing video production right there that you could, point out. And that's another thing people don't realize is that there's a whole video series coming out of this.
Yeah.
And that's
There's
really
a lot still that hasn't even been done.
Yeah. that's what I'm excited for, is the actual video series. So, yeah, good stuff. Hey, so you did go to, I forgot one thing. You did go to check out a little bit of the on-road worlds this week before you went to to Finland.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was cool.
Is that something?
I mean, I think it looks really fun to drive because they're so fast and there's so much grip. So it looks really fun to drive. If I was there, I'd definitely go watch the mains. I mean, kind of just watching qualifying or practice gets boring pretty quick. But I think watching the mains would be fun.
Yeah, and that facility is pretty impressive, man. I would say it's probably one of the best on-road facilities in the world. I
wouldn't go that far. I mean, it looks good in pictures, yeah. And it's a nice track, but there are some great facilities, especially in Europe.
Yeah, I agree.
Asia too.
I agree, but
they don't have permanent pits or anything there. It's just like a parking lot with a nice track. So
yeah,
as
but
a
it's
facility, it's not like
it's in a great location. It's in a great location. This would have been ideally what would have been great would to have that race alongside another full scale race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if there was a full scale race happening at the same time, so people would be there and
exactly
they'd be watching. Yeah.
So you got to see your compatriot Timo Lino. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Hang out with him. I wanted you to meet Ben Wallace. How did you not meet Ben Wallace? It's like 6'8".
I don't know. But you know what's funny? It's funny because a lot of the top on-road guys, I've never actually seen them in real life or met them. So that's actually very unusual for me in RC. But there's these people that I've just never seen. So, it's almost, it's like when you see a celebrity or something and they just look different. Or you see someone that you've always seen on video, you kind of think, you feel like you know them. You know what they're like. Then you see them in real life. It's always different. It's so funny how that works.
Yeah, it's like you get to be like a fanboy almost.
Yeah, almost like that. And also, it's just weird. Like, normally I find people are somehow like, oh, he's shorter than I thought, or smaller than I thought, or some, like, something's different always.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird how that works.
All right. Definitely something I'd like to see. Greg's talking about going. Even Cav said he's going to go check it out. I asked him, does he, because Cav races on road, and he was like, yeah, maybe one day I'll get to do that. And I think all he has to do is ask. I think it's a shame that we don't get to see like Coelho there.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that when I was there. Like, X-Ray really have pulled back on all nitro on road, so no Coelho there. Yeah, it's a shame. There is one X-Ray driver there.
Mm-hmm.
Matteo, I think his name was, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
no
a
X-Ray
shame.
Presence.
It's a shame.
Infinity pushed them out, I guess.
I don't get that.
Infinity was becoming too big, so X-Ray pulled out.
But that doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't, to me, that doesn't make sense. Like, you stay there and fight. Like, this is the whole point of racing, is to like have competition. Like,
Yeah, I think the Infinity thing is interesting because, yes, on one hand, they hire a lot of drivers. They have a big presence, and their competition sees them as they have an unfair advantage because they have such deep pockets, like unlimited pockets almost.
Mm-hmm.
So they're spending all this money, hiring all these drivers, sponsoring all the races and that stuff. And their competition, so other brands see that as bad. Like, they're ruining the market. They don't care about money. So they're just ruining it for everyone else. People are buying Infinity cars and racing for them, and we're losing out. But then, if you think about it, on the other hand, thanks to Infinity, the whole ENS in Europe has been running because they've been the main sponsor. They've been sponsoring Red RC and the Racing Series. They sponsored the Worlds now here in America. They're sponsoring all these races, and basically their money is used to put on some races that otherwise wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So they are in fact helping the nitro on-road scene.
Yes,
by doing that.
I mean, look at the coverage on Live RC. It's exceptional, and
yeah. So
there's money in that area.
Their money is funding races, series, tracks, and that sort of stuff, which actually does help the on-road scene. So
yeah.
So yes, they hire a lot of drivers, and in that sense, they become a big competitor for the other brands. But at the same time, they're also helping the scene, and maybe even making sure that it doesn't die off, because at one point there wasn't much nitro on-road racing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And now there is, with great coverage too, so everyone can see it.
And
yeah,
another big thing is the GT class, which is the cars based off the 8-scale buggy.
You know, the GT is like truggy. It's so stupid.
No, it's not. It's fun. I have one here. We should actually go down to we should talk to Alex, and when you get her, we maybe go down to Santo Domingo, and we could go to the track down there, and you can drive his. It's actually fun. They're still fast. They're not as fast as obviously the 8-scale GP car or 8-scale on-road cars. But the big thing with those is that tires are expensive for them compared to the foam tires, the GT tires. But I have one. I have a Mugen. I got to fix it up. I got everything for it too. So, and you raced as well. You raced at the Proline Explosion. You got third.
I didn't get lapped this time, so
no. But Adam got you. Adam got you again. So
Adam got me again. That's 2-0, and Anthony also. So Anthony is also beating me 2-0. He's not letting me forget that.
No, he isn't. And
he's like, last year you lapped me, and now
he's improved.
Now you can't beat me. So
he's improved.
Gone backwards quick, he says. But I think he's actually improving.
He has.
I have gone backwards a bit because I really haven't been racing and practicing like I used to in the past, the past few years. I mean, obviously, because I've been a bit busy with some other stuff, but
right.
Just, Anthony, hang in there. I'll get him. I think, this is going to be tough, actually, that the Buggy Land race at Thunder Alley, because now I'm traveling again. After China, I go back, and then a few days after that, or maybe a week after that, is the race. So there's no time really to improve for that race. So let's see if I can beat him there. But yeah, after that, then it's all about RC. So I'll be going to the track, working on the car, working on my driving, and let's see if I can make a comeback.
And people loved it.
Going into 2020 strong.
Yeah, people loved it. And Drake was smiling. And you know what? It's actually, you even said that Rhonda spoke to you at this race, and it's good to see. Crazy. It's good to see that you guys are being cordial, and I'm telling you, it's gonna lead to good things. Just keep like Drake's good people. Just keep used to be friends before. Now you guys are on speaking terms and everything, so it's good, man. I'm happy to see that. It shows a little sign that you're maturing too. So it's good to see.
Okay.
Good to see. So
okay, Dr. Phil.
As my uncle used to say, you catch more honey, you catch more bees with honey than you do with shit. So you don't want to catch flies, but But it's good to see. And the podium picture was epic. Like the first one, when your face was all mashed up, and I was like, oh, that's so funny because you look so miserable. And then the second one with with the cup up, that's fun. And I agree, that's fun stuff, and we need to see more of that type of stuff in RC as well. So
I remember last year, when was it? Maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago, David Ronnefalk was also in America, and there was this race that dialed in, and we had a bet that he wouldn't lap me, and then he lapped me right at the end. And I was in the podium picture, I was standing with my back to the camera, I was standing the wrong way. And I remember some people were complaining about that online. I mean, I just thought it was funny, but they were like, "Oh, that's so disrespectful!" Jesus Christ!
Oh well,
people are too serious.
Oh well. All right, well, let's get on to these questions before you keep you're reminiscing a lot here. We have a few. So let's get on to the Facebook questions for this week. All right, so question 1 is actually a long one. It's from Jeremy Pickett. He always has setup questions, so let's go. He goes, when it comes to a high traction surface, can you explain different ways the pivot point of the car reacts, such as a narrow pivot versus a wide pivot, and how that works with your roll center, specifically speaking for high traction surfaces? I'm trying to fine tune my RCs for turf, but struggling to find with fine tuning the pivot and roll center to get them working together.
Let's make this the Assault RC.
I have other questions for Assault RC. That's the thing. We have a lot of setup questions.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, just off the top of my head, quick, that's something that I don't adjust on my car. We can't. That's not an adjustment we can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that it can go both ways, really. But most likely, going wider on high grip would be better because it offers the car more support. So it stiffens up the car. It doesn't want to roll as easily. So you can push it more. You can be more aggressive. So wider pivot width means that the car acts a bit stiffer, doesn't roll as much. Narrower means that it rolls a bit more. Also, he was talking about roll centers also there. So I think the adjustments the cars have aren't very big. So you don't necessarily really need to move your upper links when you're doing this change.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, if you have a narrower pivot width, you can get away with running a higher roll center. If you have a wide pivot width, you can't get away with that as easily. So you need to run a lower roll center to get the best performance. That's what I've noticed. And also I've noticed that on the front, it's good to run the narrow pivot width because it just smooths out the response of the car. But on the rear, it could be beneficial to run it wide because then, like I said before, the car just the rear end offers more support. You can drive it more aggressively, high grip track. Let's say you exit a corner and you get on the gas hard and you're kind of aggressive exiting the corner. The rear won't want to squat onto the outside tire as much, so it stays more flat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like when you run the wider pivot width on the rear, you sort of have automatic corner speed in a way. The car doesn't want to stop so much in the corner. So yeah, but it's all a balancing thing because some drivers, if they like their car to feel very soft and plush and always have grip and drive the car in full control of it, they might be faster with the narrow pivot because that's what it does. But others, that natural corner speed may just make them faster.
Okay. And he has a part two, another question. He goes, Jeremy says, I'm struggling with rear traction on corner entry and into mid corner. I think part of the issue was oversteer. Took steering out and it helped the rear traction, but I had to take so much out that I now push through the corners. What changes would you recommend so that I can add more steering without having traction issues? He says, turf track currently at negative 0.07 millimeters pin height, negative 1.4 millimeter pin width, 4 degrees rear toe and 3 degrees anti-squat, negative 2 degrees rear camber, 0 degrees front camber, and negative 1 degrees front toe. I think Jeremy has to message you.
So what car is he driving?
He doesn't say. Let's see. Maybe I can go on his Facebook profile and see.
Well, anyway, if you're struggling with oversteer going into corners, so you're losing the rear end going into corners, then the best thing you can do, the first thing you can do or you should do is go up on the rear diff. So a thicker rear diff will significantly improve rear traction going into corners.
I think this might be 10 scale, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounded kind of 10 scale to me. But the same thing applies. A thicker rear diff will make the car more stable off power going into corners. Also, he mentioned like 4-degree towing or something. It sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
So it's a bit counterintuitive, but maybe trying some actually less towing could work. Yeah. And if you reduce the towing a lot, then you're also lengthening the wheelbase. So then maybe move the rear hub forward again to get the same wheelbase you had with a lot of tow. But those are the two things I would try first. Just thicker rear diff and then try less towing.
Okay. And Kyle Predmore, a.k.a. AE Fanboy, he's been on the podcast. We kind of answered this, but I'll ask his question. Anyway, he says, Cav Gate. Where is he going? My pick is X-Ray if Ty leaves. TLR is my dark horse. Curious on what his penalty was for the NCTS. He covers that, actually. Said he jumped over the line at the end of the race, and why. He also wants to know why was some big names not at the Kinwald race, if anyone knows. Then a couple of guys, Andy Big Dance Land says, Cav has nowhere to go at this point. Nobody wants the drama that he brings. His only choice may be Serpent, as he has no USA driver present on a national level, unless Rupert wants to deal with his shit. Man, people are loving your new nickname. I love it. And yeah, they just kind of go back and forth. We kind of talked about where we think Cav's gonna go. I think Cav's one of the most misunderstood racers in RC. So a lot of people think he's a dick, but he's actually just passionate about racing and winning. I mean, and emotions fly. So, and as for the Kinwald race, which was pretty good, they had it at what's that track in Arizona that they have the cactus that, what's that 10 scale track? Hobby Action or something? So they had a big Brian Kinwell tribute race there. And I guess Cav just, like, being as he's not, well, probably, wasn't on the schedule or something. I don't know. But it looked good. And a lot of tributes to Kinwell. So I don't know, Kyle, why he didn't attend. So probably he was just busy, or probably schedules clashed. Or I don't know what happened. So I'm sure it will be a well-attended 10-scale race next year. Okay. So we have a few more questions before we go on to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. And this comes from Matt Dixon out of Canada. What's up, Matt A? He says, I see JQ has been running what looks like a combination of J Concepts Triple Ds in the front and the Reflex on the rear. What's the idea behind this?
Yeah, it was Max who came up with that and just told me to run it, so I did. Basically, the Reflex is a bit more stable than the Triple D, but then it doesn't have that much steering, so you run the Triple D on the front to get the steering. So you have a smooth car, but you have enough steering, thanks to the Triple D in the front.
Okay. So how do you find that it works for you? Obviously, you're running it, so you.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I had good rear traction. I wasn't losing the rear end. It felt easy to drive, and I had good steering. So yeah, I just stuck with it.
All right. So we have Sean Rusin, big fan of the No Name RC podcast. He was actually at the Proline Explosion. I think Sean actually likes RC more than I do. So he's at this big, it's like a big AMA Model Association, like, what is it called? Fair or seminar or big, what do they call that? Exposier or something like that. Anyway, it's big, like Proline's involved in it. And he goes, and it looks pretty good. Like Bill Oxidine's there with his boats. If you're into RC, you are there. So he goes, why do motocross riders that will race why do motocross riders that race come over to RC racing, then complain about gate starts? This one for the rant. Go ahead, Mr. Gate Start.
What motocross riders complained about the gate
I don't know. Maybe he was at RCGP. He was a fan of, he didn't race, but he was a fan of the gate start. So, I don't know.
By the way, I'll add one thing to the gate start thing.
Oh, gosh.
People say qualifying doesn't matter. Okay, just think about the way we race right now. Let's say Worlds, you qualify for 3 days. 3 days you qualify. And then you have to run a semi-final, and you don't even make the main. So what the fuck was the point of qualifying then?
You're absolutely right, because Elliott Boots TQ'd the Worlds and didn't make the final,
Coelho was super fast, didn't make the main in Australia. So why aren't the people who are complaining like, oh, gate start make it so qualifying doesn't matter? Why don't they complain about semifinals? Really?
I don't know, dude.
I mean, that's a lot worse, really, if you think about it.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't want you going a whole 30-minute spiel about gate starts, okay? Then it's like your CTO thing. Jesus. Sure. Will McIver sent us.
Actually, the CTO, yeah. My biggest pet peeve, we're going to have to talk about this at some
point
again. People cutting the track.
No, never again, because you just go on
people
incessant.
Cutting the track, especially like Jimmy Babcock is the worst. He runs all these races, but he still doesn't have an understanding of it.
Because he needs a referee
behind cars going around the track and how it works. It's like someone cuts the track and then he's like, you didn't wait long enough. What the fuck? You don't wait. You have to finish the lap.
Why did I even mention this? Why? Why?
And then when Jimmy thinks someone has waited long enough, it's actually they've just waited long enough to, had they done the lap, it would have been the same time. So they make a mistake, crash over the track, and they don't lose any time.
Okay.
It's
all
fucking
right.
Stupid.
All right. Please. I'm so over you in this rant. It's just, I'm over it. All right. Will McIver.
One day we're going to rant about that.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, I have to go to my bookkeeper now. So, okay, hurry up with the question.
All right. Will McIver, he goes, Mr. Rupert. In the past few decades of RC racing, we have seen turbo plugs and more advanced engines enter into nitro racing. Cars becoming more advanced with setup options. Electric racing has evolved to brushless motors and lithium batteries. Also, tires have taken a turn in technology with the options of compounds and patterns. In your opinion, what will be the next technology change or advancement in our form of racing?
Well, that's a good question. That would be something I'd have to think about. Maybe fuel. That could be something. I think maybe fuel because of the expense and difficulty of, increasing expense and difficulty of obtaining nitromethane.
You're breaking up.
So maybe there's something there.
Yeah, you sound better now.
So, I was saying maybe fuel because it's getting increasingly expensive and difficult to obtain nitromethane, because of all the laws and regulations. So maybe that would be something. Maybe the engines we run and the fuel we run, maybe something will change today.
So what you're trying to say is we might see fuel and engines that we get more power, more efficiency, longer lasting, maybe fuel that produces longer run times. We're already getting 10 minutes, like people are getting 10 minutes on tanks and all that type of stuff. So what you're trying to say is it might be easier for everybody to do that eventually.
No, what I'm saying is nitromethane is expensive and being even banned in some places, so I think maybe that will be replaced. So some other chemical will be used instead.
Okay, maybe. All right, I get that. Understandable. Okay, next question is from Right RC. He's a big Truggy fan, and he's a big RCGP fan. So he says, will we see RCGP regionals, RC2, he says, or RC2? I think it would be, I guess he's talking about RC2 regionals. I think it would be a great success and a ladder for drivers to climb to get on a factory team sponsorship. And he goes, RCGP Truggy, because this dude loves Truggy.
Well, the whole regional thing and qualifying in and that kind of stuff, that would make sense for the RC2 class, I think. Maybe one day down the road, something like that will happen, but Truggy is not going to happen. That I can already tell you right now.
The point of this is also to make it a comfortable race, and Nitro Buggy is the premier class of off-road. Nitro Buggy and two-wheel drive buggy. So, yeah, I get that.
Truggy is a support class.
It is pretty much. It's only really run at big races. So, to get extra extra track time, because you don't get much track time with one class. It's still fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy Truggy. So, yeah. My future lies in fifth scale. That's where it lies. I'm going to be a fifth scale champion. I can feel it in my bones.
There's no future in fifth scale.
For me, there is. I bet you our next question, our next person with the next question, the person who asked it would disagree, because it's Connie Svensson from Sweden, and he is a big fifth scale fan. He's informed me a lot about fifth scale. He says, I would like you to comment on the new concept 10 scale car from MRO Racing that has a Kickstarter campaign right now, especially around the design with the shocks lying down. It's been tried before. Could it be good this time? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it. I really like it.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Super low center of gravity, different style design, push rod, suspension. There used to be a car.
The Predator.
Technology. Predator, yeah. I think I always thought that was the coolest car ever. It looked really good. And it was, the car was good too. They made world's mains, had good results with it. I think they even won European championships with it. But it was just a bit fragile. And I think it's cool. I hope they get it. I hope they actually get it produced.
He's using Kickstarter to do it. Like, so Kickstarter is
I don't think he'll get enough money. There's not enough people to where it's always a small percentage of people that support something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not enough people in RC to where I think he would get enough money to do it. He needs to raise the money himself. I mean, he needs to come up with the money himself.
Like you're
bank loan or something like that.
You would know all about that because you've been there and done that. So
yes, I definitely have. So I think that if he wants to get it made, he needs to do it himself. He needs to make a business plan and get a loan and get it done.
Mm-hmm. I think he also. What do you think about that front wheel drive orb car?
Yeah, I've seen that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, front wheel drive is kind of a gimmick, but it's because it's not really a racing class. But I mean, for what it is, it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Okay, Isaac Pausen. I think you're gonna like this question because it goes against everything you believe in. What do you guys think about the idea of multiple tracks, say 2, 3, 4, whatever it takes to accommodate massive entry counts and a wide variety of classes while maintaining a very smooth and precise event? For instance, a buggy track, a truggy track, and a miscellaneous 10-scale track, short course, or what, stadium truck, or whatever.
What do I think about it?
Yeah, what do you think about it? Well, I honestly, in my opinion, I don't like mixing 10 scale and 8 scale.
Well, my question would be why?
Yeah. Well, I guess like Joey had I guess he's trying to say is because we have like all these races with 600, 700 entries, instead of everybody running on one track, maybe have two different like a buggy track, a truggy track, or whatever. But that kind of defeats the purpose of running multiple classes at these races. Because you run multiple classes to get track time, because you don't get as much track time, you know? What people have to understand, like when you go to DNC, you don't just go up on the stand and drive forever. I mean, at races like Race Time, you can go up there and drive. You can do a whole fuel bottle if there's nobody on the track. But at these races, you get 3 7-minute practices at DNC. So you have to literally run truggy e-buggy, you know, to get sufficient practice time because you only get 3 sessions. Having different tracks doesn't really do that. And then even up to the race promote, like not space, where you have to have space for 3 different tracks. You have to have multiple driver stands, and you have to have staff in order to take care of these tracks, because they have to maintain them, they have to water them, or whatever they have to do. Then like you can't even get people to turn marshal after their race now. So imagine like people are running multiple classes. They don't have to bounce from one track, go to, you know, it's just, I think the problem is we need to, and we say this all the time, is we need to lower entry count, raise prices. That's, if these guys are about making money, Neo Buggy DXR is a great example. They run Nitro Buggy, RCGB is a great example too. They run Nitro Buggy. You pay like you pay more, but you get more quality track time of one class. And
yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. You know, having multiple tracks, it may sound like a good idea. Like honestly, the 2 tracks at Silver State, like yeah, people use the practice track, like for tuning your engine, or maybe just to go out there and get some track time and all that stuff. But that track was like really different from the main track, like from the main racing track, you know? So yeah. And like that track was showing no love. So it wasn't watered. It wasn't, you know, nothing. So you just had 2 tracks making dust at the same time when it was being run. I don't think that's the way to go. I think just getting organized, but still, like, that's the thing. Like, the whole thing is, like, egos. We got 1,000 entries, you know? About 1,000 entries with 300 participants. So, yeah, I don't know about multiple tracks, man. We can't even, people just, these race promoters, and there's nothing against them. They're working their butts off. And I know, like, they spend all this money they have to make money off this. So just imagine, like, if you have to maintain 2 tracks, 3 tracks in racing condition or whatever. Yeah, I don't think it's feasible.
They can't even deal with one just now, so.
Yeah, they got their hands full with that.
Point in increasing.
And just like, I mean, even us, like, getting people out to marshal is just horrendous, man. It's horrendous. Sorry, Isaac. I think I know it sounds like a good idea on paper, but and realistically, it's not, like, you know? So, we can go on and on about big entries and all that type of stuff and whatnot. So, anyway, thanks for the question, Isaac. If we ever make tires, we'll call the tires the Pulsinators. Chad Milliken, he wants to know, why do sponsored drivers wear their sponsor shirts at the track where we all know the companies, but not wear them when they travel where it's exposed to thousands? That's actually a good question. He also says, why do full-time sponsored drivers and managers step down from their position but come back as a hobbyist for another company rather than supporting the one they swore by for years?
You know what? I was doing something else and I didn't listen.
Okay, Chad Milliken. I'm used to that with him, people. You be talking to him like, hey, Joseph, what do you think about this? And then this is why we have to get, you know what? When you come to the DR, we're going to get your brain scanned. Because I really, really think you suffer from ADD.
Can we do that?
ADD.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
I swear, man. We got to get you checked for autism, man. Seriously. I'm not even playing.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Maybe I'm on the spectrum.
I think so. Chad Milliken says in his first question, why do sponsored drivers wear their sponsored shirts at the track where we all know the companies, but not wear them when they travel where it's exposed to thousands? Question number 2, why do full-time sponsored drivers and managers step down from their position but come back as a hobbyist for another company rather than supporting the one they swore by for years?
The sponsored shirts look ridiculous. That's why.
So maybe we need cooler shirts. Like
the JQ collared shirts look fucking awesome.
I knew you was going to say that.
Max wears it. Max wears his everywhere.
That's his uniform, actually.
Yeah, that's Max's uniform.
Black Dickie pants. Yeah, black Dickie pants.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Black sneakers.
So yeah, but all these idiots with the T-shirts with this one color, like they have a purple shirt with yellow logos on it, and they think that's cool. Jesus Christ, it's horrible. You know what? I'm gonna make a new rule. Actually, I have a rule. I think if you aren't wearing an official JQ shirt, then you don't get paid contingency.
Well, you know what, dude? There are no fucking official JQ shirts right now, so we need to get on that.
Yeah, I know. We need to get on that. But at least it has to have that real logo. You can't have these like one color ridiculous like heat transfer logos. Oh my god, it's so stupid. It looks terrible.
I know you're you're into this fashion thing, so I know that really.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad in RC.
I
probably should add also, like, if you have your name on your back, then you also don't get contingency.
Hey, I like my Beach RC shirt. It says Lefty the Great on the back, but I'm not racing. But I like my JQ shirts. Not the ones that you just recently bought that are 4X, that are for 4X people in China.
Skinny 4X people.
Skinny, I would say worse than that. This man got me a 4X and I looked like a damn rodeo barrel with that thing on the other day. So
yeah,
tight.
That was cool. That was funny. The guy Googled a picture of a barrel at the rodeo and say, look, it's Lefty.
Those things were too small. You know that.
Yeah. So anyway, back to his question, it wouldn't help anything. Like if you wear your team shirt in public, that's not going to.
I think if it's cool,
that's not going to do anything.
I think if it's cool,
carry your RC car in public, okay? Then people will take notice and ask you questions. But you wear some shirt with some logos on it, that's not going to do anything.
But you know what? I always wear either a No Name RC Podcast shirt or a JQ Racing shirt. The problem with the JQ Racing shirt is that I'm discovered it's the Jamaican colors and it looks like it says Jamaica on the front. So I got
that's good.
No, but it's like when I like travel through Miami and stuff like that, and there's always people from Jamaica and the islands coming through, they just take a quick look and because it does. But
yeah,
maybe I should wear my collared shirt more or something. I'm gonna rock
Jamaica.
Yeah,
they say
Jamaica. So
man.
And
what was the second question?
He says, why do full-time sponsored drivers and managers step down from their position but come back as a hobbyist for another company rather than supporting the one they swore by for years? I know the easy question for that. You know why? Because they went to whoever gave them free stuff. I have the easy answer for that. Whatever company gave them free stuff.
I think it maybe has something to do with sort of the relationship, because after you've been in that position, maybe they let you go, or maybe something wasn't good there, or there was some sort of drama, or maybe you just don't want to deal with it because you left and someone else has taken your position, and maybe it's some like a relationship thing. So you just want to be completely separate then, just to keep it simple.
Yeah, and I also think it's about whoever's going to give them free stuff.
Maybe, but why wouldn't, if the relationship is good and you step down as team manager, why wouldn't they still, support that person?
Yeah, but usually when
the relationship is good.
Let's be realistic. Usually when people step down, it's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, that's why I think it's more about sort of relationship, human relationship side of things. That's why they go somewhere else. Keep it simple.
All right. We have one more question from Adam Camacho, but it kind of leads into our Assault RC question. So Adam Camacho, actually, like two people kind of asked the same question for the Assault RC. So this is going to be, they're going to both get credit for this question. So Joseph, let's go into the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment.
Okay.
You are now locked in to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. Check out AssaultRC.com for the latest products for all your performance RC needs. Featuring the best lubes and specialty tools on the market. Use promo code LEFTY19 at checkout for 10% off your entire order at AssaultRC.com.
Okay, welcome to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. This is the part of the podcast dedicated to all your setup questions. Well, just in particular setup questions. And Joseph hopefully answers them in a very informative way and not as fast as he wants to, but what he's been doing a lot. But actually, a lot of people enjoy this segment. So, yeah.
The pressure is on.
Yeah. So Adam Camacho and Will MacGyver actually have kind of the same question, and it's all about rear wings. So I'm gonna ask both their questions, and you'll see what I mean. So Adam Camacho goes, does tuning, dialing with different rear wings have an impact on racing results? And Will MacGyver, who really likes the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment, and I love it because he uses your nickname, Mr. Pumpernickels. Is there an advantage to the wing position, high, low, more forward, more back on an 8th scale buggy? And what is the big deal about drilling holes in the wing? Also, can you explain the wicker bill or gurney purposes?
Okay, so I think the wing makes a bigger difference than the body. The body looks a lot different, and I think it's a bit of a placebo thing. Because when people say that they feel a difference when changing the body in a hairpin, my response is, you're an idiot. Because the body cannot possibly create downforce at 5 miles an hour. It just doesn't work that way. It looks different. Yes, that's true. But the wing can make a difference. And the reason is that the wing is pretty high up on the car, far to the back. It's a bit like a pendulum. So high speed, downforce makes a difference. Low speed, the weight of the wing makes a difference. So if you have a heavier wing, it's going to make the car want to roll more. It's going to want to push the rear of the car out a bit when you're going into a corner, because it's heavier. So you just imagine that weight. You slow down and turn the car, that rear wing wants to continue going forward. So the weight of the wing makes a difference also. That's maybe something that people don't take into consideration. So high speed and jumping, the actual downforce of the wing makes a difference. Low speed, I think the weight makes the bigger difference. A more angled or a higher wing has a greater effect, in my opinion, in both instances. So on the JQ car, we have the higher wing mount. And what everyone notices when they try it is it just makes the car feel more stable. I think that is because high speed, the wing is higher up. It's in cleaner air. It has more downforce. And then at low speed, because it's higher up, the weight of the wing will affect the car more. So it makes the rear of the car want to roll more. I actually think that it gives the car more grip because of this. And what else about wings? Yeah, so moving it forwards and backwards also makes a difference. I think moving the wing forward will make the car have more grip. And the reason is that there's less of a pendulum effect. So you go into the corner and you turn the corner, the rear doesn't want to swing around. You don't want to lose the rear end. Because if your wing is really far back, and let's say it's a heavy wing also, that's what's going to want to happen. It tends to want to kind of break the rear loose. If you move the wing forward, that's not going to happen anymore. I haven't noticed the difference really wing forward or wing back jumping, but I haven't really specifically tested that. Maybe there is a slight difference, maybe not, I don't know. But for me, what I've learned is to have the best performance for me is when you move the wing forward and raise it. And how far forward? On the JQ car at least, if you look at the wing from above, the front of the wing is approximately over the middle of the shock caps. That's a pretty good position, front to back. Then there are different wings also. So a lot of people run the HB wing, for example. I think the HB wing has a big surface area and a lot of downforce. So actually, especially in America, there are some jumps where there's a big double and then you have to land it perfectly and do a corner after that. With that wing, if you don't drill holes in it, at least my car tends to jump a bit nose high. So it's hard to kind of downside that jump and then do the corner immediately afterwards because it wants to kind of float a bit. The car wants to float nose high because of the wing. So then when you drill holes in the wing, it won't do that. Then you just do the jump and it kind of naturally, the nose drops and you land the jump and you can do the next corner. So I think that's why people started drilling holes. Most people just drill holes because it's cool and everyone else does it. So they don't really know why they do it, but that's the reason. You want to do that because of the attitude of the car in the air. And the wicker bill, is basically, it helps the opposite in the opposite situation. So you want to add some effect on the wing. You want to add some stability or downforce on the wing. So the HB has too much, so you drill holes, and then some wings, maybe like the JQ standard wing, it has much less downforce. So if you add a wicker bill on that, that's going to actually help. And you'll feel a difference where you feel like the car jumps more predictably, like it jumps more straight, it jumps more in control. You feel like you have a bit more traction on the car. So that's why you would run a wicker bill. So an HB wing with a wicker bill would be overkill, basically.
Okay.
What else did you ask about wings?
Nothing really. You pretty much covered everything. Drilling holes, wicker bills, high, low, more forward, more back. Yeah, I was actually a really, I totally understand everything about rear wings now.
I think that the two most favorite wings that people run right now are the HB wing and the associated wing. So I think the main difference between them is that the HB wing is super stable, like I said. It just makes the car feel really comfortable and safe. And the associated wing has a bit less downforce, so it makes the rear feel a bit looser, so it's not so locked in. So that's really the difference between them. So both are lightweight, good wings, and I think that's why they're so popular.
Okay. Or you can be like Ongaro and just run the middle gurney of a wing and still win Neo because you're that fast.
I'm actually happy that the whole Lexan wing ridiculousness has kind of passed.
People are still using them though.
Fewer people run them. I just think it makes the car look so ugly.
It looks like it doesn't have a wing on it at some times. Maybe they should.
I don't like that.
Maybe they should paint them.
And also now with a sort of new generation of plastic wings, they actually weigh the same. There's no weight advantage to the Lexan wing.
Okay.
So you might as well run the plastic.
Yeah, and the plastic one is stronger. So.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Will McIver, and thank you, Adam Camacho, for the questions. Thank you, Joseph. That was actually a really great explanation. And remember, guys, get those Assault RC Invisible Speed segment questions in. Probably sometimes it's better to PM me or just send me a message, send a message to the podcast Facebook page. All right. Well, you know what, Joseph? I'm going to call you back for the rant, dude.
Okay.
See you later.
See you.
Do you know what an average RC person thinks about every 3 seconds? RC cars, of course. But who can blame us? We're excited about the good stuff, the cars that endure those long safaris, and the parts that make you that 0.1 seconds faster on the racetrack. Those moments to ourselves when we close the door to the outside world just to hear that high-pitched racing beast even louder. So this is for us, from racer to racer. Euro RC, just RC, no bullshit. Please go to www.eurorc.com. Use promo code NNRC to save you some money on your orders.
So our guest for episode 50 is, as you guys know, probably my favorite racer of all time. I'm a fanboy of him. I've gotten to know him over the last year or so. He's a cool dude. Takes his job very seriously. I think he's one of the most misunderstood drivers or personalities in RC. I'm super pumped to have him on the podcast. I know he doesn't do many of these, but he's still good, a good dude, and got to talk to him a lot more at RCGP. Did a slight interview with me there concerning RCGP. Probably gonna go down in my book as one of the greatest racers of all time. He's won multiple world championships in 10 scale, multiple national titles in 10 scale and 8 scale. Pretty much won all the big races that exist in America and a few abroad, obviously. Just my favorite racer. And I'm just happy to have him on her episode 50. It's a big milestone for us, you know, as I talked about in the intro. There is a competition attached to this who this guest was. You had to guess who the guest would be. One person did. He has to listen to this podcast to find out. They have to listen to this podcast to find out who they are, because I got this person to do it. So I want to thank Ryan Cavalieri for coming on this podcast. I know he's a busy man. He's a father, just like me, RC racer. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ryan Cavalieri, my favorite racer in RC. What's up, Ryan? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's good to.
I appreciate you liking me.
Well, I mean, it's me and Salty Joe. Salty Joe is a big fan of yours.
I like it.
Did you meet him at No, you met him at PNB a few.
Yeah, PNB.
Yeah, he's a big fan of yours, and You know,
we always give him a shout out.
I know. That's pretty cool. He appreciates it. He likes it too. So he gets a little shy now and then, but it's all right. Salty Joe is good people. So what's up, dude? How are you today?
Yeah, doing good. Just getting the day started. Basically, had some breakfast, took the little one down, and just kind of enjoying the early morning.
Yeah, you're on daddy duties. I was on daddy duties all day yesterday, and it wore me out. And I don't know, man. I think my daughter is just going to be much more of a terror than my son is going to be. It's hard to believe, but all good stuff, man. But
yeah, they definitely keep you on your toes.
Yeah, it's time for another one, man. You gotta have another one. You're a young guy. Have another one. How old are you now, anyway?
I am 33.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I figured that's how old you was. Cool. That's when I had my first child. So yeah, time for another one. But no, I'm only joking.
Yeah, we'll
stick with one.
We'll see how that one goes. We just kind of got settled into our new house. We purchased back in May. So just getting everything together. We did a lot of renovation.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting the kids' room all set up.
Sweet. All right. Well, if you guys don't know who Ryan Cavalieri is, you've been under RC Rock. He's a multi-time world champion, multi-time national champion. You've pretty much won every big race out there in America, I would say. Which one haven't you won yet so far? Like in America?
The only ones I really haven't won, I never won a gas truck national.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't won a Truggy national championship either in gas or electric, and then the same thing with e-buggy, basically. So there's only a few classes I haven't won in.
All right, cool.
But I got multiple in other classes, so.
Yeah, that's true. You have multiple.
I could trade someone.
I know. We'll get into that later on, but yeah, you definitely have an impressive career. And let's start. Like, how long have you been racing professionally now?
Basically, I would say from early 2000s. Basically, I say myself, like, once I started getting paid, to be full time. So that was basically 2003, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Same year I won the Worlds with Below C. So it's been a long time.
So you won the World in 2003. That was your first. Where did you win that? Where did that take place?
It was at Minrig in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we used to race there quite a bit back in the day. They had the Low C race. They had the Nationals in 2000 there. So, like, we've definitely have had track time there. And I don't know, something about that track really suited my driving. It was, I would say, medium grip. We ran, when it was grooved up, we ran BK bars. And then for the Worlds, we ran whole shots. It seems like that's always like a tire that we run at the Worlds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Different conditions. It does rain there, so it's like they had to pick a tire that's like suitable for the Worlds. But yeah, 2003 first Worlds. I was 16 years old. I want to say probably the youngest world champion.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're trying to go back and like always try to figure out if Nayato or myself were, but I'll take it. At age 16, that was impressive.
I would say so. But when did you actually start getting into RC? I was listening to an interview the other day. Your dad used to race, and you kind of my dad used to race local. We've always kind of seemed to have racetracks around us. Living in the Southern California area, basically, my dad started running, like, just practicing, and I would just go turn marshal. It was a track in Costa Mesa, RCH, and then when I was 9-10, he brought me to SoCal Raceway in Garden Grove. We basically got cars and started going, and then we just got a little bit more into it, got some better cars, and it just kind of grew from there. And then SoCal ended up closing down. They moved to Huntington Beach, which is closer to my house. So basically I could ride my bike. I can rollerblade there, razor, like anything I'd walk there if I had to. So I'd basically be there every day. Okay.
And with the racing and at SoCal, always we had, Kenwald, Francis would come down occasionally, Pavitas, Easton, Greg Hodap, Derek Fatani. I mean, we always had like a huge selection. Barry Baker would come out. I used to battle with Josh Anderson in Mod Buggy.
Yeah.
I mean, stock rivalry. It's like it always had good competition, and it's like it just always was a fun time to like club race. Like even just to go there and just kind of hang out, like it had a good vibe. So that was basically growing up. Like I would just go there, like just to have fun. Even if I wasn't with my dad, I would just go down there and hang out with the guys. I knew they were going to be there if I wasn't going to drive that day.
So how old were you at this time? Like in 12, 11, 13?
I was like once they moved over to SoCal moved over to Brookers, I was probably around, let's say like 12, 13. I would say around 13, 14 probably. I would say about that.
Yeah.
And basically, like I would just go there, almost like I would say at least 4 or 5 days out of the week. And then we would go up to M&M, which was about 30 minutes away, which was in Corona. And it was a different surface. So we just kind of always try to mix up our priorities of like what kind of style track we were going to run on.
Yeah, I mean, you were fortunate, man. You grew up in, which I call the Mecca of RC, which is still the Mecca of RC now. I mean, you go to OCRC, you got you and everybody else. People just hang out there and race. And obviously because of the weather, you can race year-round 8 scale as well.
Yeah, it's definitely, I would say, like, overall, like, my career was always, like, going to be a positive, I guess, like if things were going to work out, because I always had like a good racetrack to basically run at. Even when a track would close, someone else would open up, and basically you had another amazing facility to run at. So when did you start getting serious, start traveling to more races and outside of California or whatever? When did that start happening? Around like 13, 14 is when I basically started traveling with my dad, and I was still running for Losi at the time. So Todd Hodge was one of the guys that picked me up at the 99 review race. I was like 50%. I finished 3rd overall in Mod Buggy. And just kind of started going from there. I went to like the Reedy truck race and did well, and just trying to like go to more tracks. It was obviously a little bit challenging. At that age, I'm still in school. I had to take time off, and then trying to tell my teachers, I'm going to be gone for 4 or 5, days out of the week. And, I think it's kind of like, well, how many days can you take off? Like, really? Like, they just didn't really want us to be gone that much. So my parents basically decided to put me in homeschooling. And so then like I was basically gone even more.
Yeah.
So then we started racing more, traveling more, everything. And, it's just kind of the way that it all worked out basically. So, I was pretty happy. I had a pretty normal childhood.
Yeah.
I went all the way up to like about 9th grade. So it's like I got to hang out and did all the fun things. I basically played all the sports I needed. I played baseball, basketball, soccer. I just didn't play any sports, I guess. Like that's the only thing I probably missed out. Like I didn't play any sports at school. It was all basically like after school things because I couldn't commit to that, to be as much as I was gone. But overall, it's like I basically had a different childhood of growing up with the RC community of, all the guys were always older than me, and it was always like cool to hang out with the guys that were older, and kind of like matures you a little bit, like differently. And but you kind of trade it.
Yeah, you kind of grew up. It was you. I think it was you and Tebow that kind of started, or was it both, all three of you? You, Tebow, and Mayfield.
Yeah, like I was, me and Jared. Like I would say, like easily around like 13, 14. Like we were like basically like connected.
Right.
I mean, he would come down, and my parents lived Costa Mesa, which was like, you know, a 10-minute bike ride to the beach. So basically we would go boogie boarding, go down to the beach every day, you know, and then we would go ride our bikes somewhere, do, you know, dirt jumps, and then go, you know, do kid things, and then, you know, just had a blast. Like we would just go ride down to the track, and then, like, you know, you just were doing stuff like nonstop. And then he kind of, I mean, this happened. This was like a 3 or 4 years easily of just doing the same thing together. So, and then he ended up, you know, meeting Megan, which was now his wife, and has kids. So it's like he ended up kind of moving on to Missouri, and then, you know, we kind of have had a little bit of like a falling out, but I would say we're still like good friends, just not like what we were like, we know, in our early teens.
Right.
But everything changes now. It's like we have wife, kids, family, mortgage, everything's different. So
Oh yeah.
you know, the focus is not the same.
How about Mayfield? Didn't you guys live together at one point? I think he said that, or maybe I'm confused.
We did. He ended up basically, like, we always like kind of joked around, like, we're like, hey dude, like, come out to California. You know, I would live with Joe and Josh Newman, and we always joked. We're like, dude, just come out. Like, we're all here. We're just gonna, you know, basically just had a couch and our beds, and, you know, barely had silver and plates and everything. You know, it's like we just had our, you know, basically a place to crash, and then we were basically at the track every day.
Yeah.
So we're like, you know, if you're gonna come out here and try to be a pro, like, you need to do it. Like, so he ended up basically just packing up, I think, all his stuff in his car, and he just, one day he called us. He's like, I'm driving. I'll be there in 4 hours. Like, we're like, really? And we're like at the pool, just like kind of kicking back. And I think we would just stay at the pool basically all day until he got there. And he called us like, hey, I'm at the gate. Yeah, we were like, are you serious? Like, we were like thinking he was just kind of joking. So it was funny. Like, we lived together for a few months, and then he ended up living with Kurt Winger. Cause like we just had a 2-bedroom apartment. So having
yeah, that's pretty crammed up. Yeah.
So he was just on the couch. So yeah, it ended up working out. He basically, you know, got some good deals while he was out here, and, you know, just we're doing the same thing now.
You kind of tasted early success out of those guys. Why do you think that was so? Like, your first
like in electric, I just was able to go to more events. Jared was more like the nitro guy. And then he kind of started to dabble into electric, where I kind of started with electric. I was able to go to quite a bit more events than they were. I think Mayfield was still trying to graduate high school. Associate kind of wanted him to finish that, so they weren't sending him to certain events. So I don't know. I think that a little bit of that maybe had a little bit to play with. And then, I don't know, I don't know. I just think the stuff that I was driving at the time just maybe was, you know, slightly better. And then we ended up basically all on the same team, and, you know, that was probably like our best years. I mean, we would go to races, and it's like, if we weren't finishing 1, 2, 3, like, there was a for sure problem. So it's like, you know, one guy would have a little bit better setup, and then, you know, we would just like take that car, and you would just kind of check out some stuff, and we basically all ran the same exact setup. That was like the craziest thing. And then we just battled it out. I mean, I don't know. It's just, we all raced really good and clean with each other. So it was funny, like, for us all being on the same team, we never ever really had like a, you know, no one was really ever mad at each other. Like, we all drove each other clean, and we were all doing well. So it was like, there was nothing to really complain about. Like, one guy would win one week, the other guy would win the other. So I think we were basically splitting the differences, you know, at events. So it only really made us better, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys still battle each other to this day. Like, that's the amazing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So. There's just, you know, obviously now there's more of a mix.
Oh, yeah.
More competition. So it's, yeah, for anything, you know, it's going to get harder. But we definitely had some fun back in the day, for sure.
Yeah. Who were some of the early older drivers that you looked? Okay, better question. Who was the driver that you looked up to the most when you was younger, when you was coming up?
I would say Kendall was always the guy that everyone looked at. It didn't matter because he was winning. So he always was like the guy that like he always had trick stuff. He always made sure his stuff looked good. He also like did things that you couldn't do. So you always were like, how the heck are you able to do certain things? So I would say he always was a guy I always looked up to. Obviously he's winning. I want to win. I would say like Matt Francis was another guy, completely different than Kendall. He's more approachable. His stuff was always clean. Like I love the red bodies. Like my dad's basically first paint job was like Francis's body. So like that, like those kind of guys, like really like it was always like the Lefty guys. I always like saw like who were like the cool, like, I want to be like those guys. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the image, I guess.
I guess it was a big AE Lefty war going, well, not war, but battles going on back then too. Remember reading about it in the magazines.
They were slightly heavier than what we have basically seen in our racing days. Definitely a little bit more craziness. I think we kind of missed out on basically. Like we were definitely a lot more tame and like a little more into like the whole like preparation, I think, than some of the other guys were back in the day. And I think that's kind of what is keeping us basically still going. We're just motivated. I feel like a little bit more. Our careers have lasted a lot longer.
Most definitely.
So, yeah.
So,
and we've seen a lot of new faces.
You have like it's
out the years. So
you guys are still like 33 is still very young, but you guys have been in this for so long, all three of you, that it seems like you guys are. No offense, just these old guys, but you're not old. You're all still young. You're still fast. You can still get it done. So it's you guys have been in it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean it's really just kind of like your mentality. Like. This is a great life that we're living, so it's kind of like, we're just taking advantage of it. Basically, we're able to do what we like to do. I mean, I love racing. I love the preparation going to races. I like trying to make sure like my stuff looks really good. Like people would go like, oh, like that looks rad. Like just gives people something to look at. Like even if it takes me a little bit longer to do, like I just do it.
Yeah.
Even if I don't have time, I just do it. So.
Yeah. So. Back when you was coming up, you just did RC. Did you enjoy any other sports? Did you have any aspirations to do anything else besides RC?
Yeah, I mean, I played basketball a lot. Like we played, even like when I was like in my early 20s, like mid 20s, like we joined like a league with a bunch of my buddies, and we just we made our own like upgrade, made us jerseys at the time, and like I've always been like a sports guy, so. I wouldn't say I would ever be professional at basketball. Baseball, I probably could have done something. I was like a pitcher. Like I had like good technique. Like I, basically had what I needed to basically probably succeed. I just really never pressed, a little bit harder to basically see where that would take me. But I mean, overall, like I'm pretty athletic. That has always been like my thing. Like I go to the lake, I wakeboard, water ski, jet ski. Like I got good balance, ride bikes, motocross, it's whatever. Basically it's like just athletic. So that's what I've always done. And then I think I just like the adrenaline of racing. So
yeah. So you also came up in the gas truck days, that was a big thing back in the day in your time. I see, like I have about 5 of them here, and I see like some people trying to resurrect them. But was that when you started to like get into nitro, and then how long after the gas truck did you start racing 8 scale?
Yeah, I ran basically like the Lefty NXT was a truck that I ended up winning at like an event. My dad basically pieced it together. We got into it, and then Lefty came out with their prototype XXX NT, and we kind of had a little bit of like we tested a lot with them, and basically we were racing gas truck pretty frequently. We would actually club race quite a bit back in the day. Adam Drake moved out early 2000s, and we'd always kind of meet up and race together at Hemet or Lake Paris. And basically I always like saw guys racing 8 scale, and like I really didn't dabble in it that much. Like basically we just couldn't afford it, you know, so we basically just ran, you know, Losi didn't have an 8 scale. So my dad and Theo, they purchased like a Kyosho, I think it was an MP7, and I ran the nationals at Hemet that year. I basically was like in bump contention, but I just like, I think I missed it, but either by a spot or I flamed out, like just basically just missed it. So I knew I had, you know, I liked 8 scale, but it was just not really like in our price range. So basically my dad, like we ended up, I believe, getting like a deal later on, like that was like 50% from Kyosho, but that they gave you a car with that.
Okay.
And basically I was like, okay, you know, we can race 8 scale, like, you know, and just order some parts, and like the Gotti helped us out quite a bit, you know. And back then it's like the cars didn't need a whole lot. Like we basically just ran that same car all year and ordered just what we needed. And then it just kind of I got better and better at Nitro, and, you know, we're making names, won Nitro Challenge, won the Nationals in 2005. So yeah, I mean, it's basically it only maybe took me a few years to really get that, you know, success going as well in 8 scale. You know, we weren't the Nitro guys by any means, so tuning and all that stuff, it was like I had no idea.
Yeah.
So we just kind of had people help us, and and it kind of just, you know, you just learn, you know, from there. So
yeah, and then you was also in the big Nitro boom, like early 2000s till about 2000, I want to say 2012 maybe. Like that's when like 10 scale was kind of dead, I want to say.
Yeah, 10 scale took like a little bit of a weird turn when it went from like the brushless and the litho stuff, I think, a little bit, but then it just really just sucked right back in. People were like, oh, this is awesome.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, I don't know, it was a weird time. Like Nitro for sure was huge.
Yeah.
Basically once Losi came out with their 8 scale, it just like the whole market just like boomed. Like it was good for everybody, it seemed like. So yeah, I mean, I drove with Kyosho basically like until Associated made their 8 scale.
So I just touched back. You said you won your first Worlds in 03. So you was driving for Losi at the time. How long did you drive for Losi after that?
I drove all the way up till April 1st of 05.
Okay, and that's when you switched to AE and
yep.
So you won. All right. So now let's just say you have 4 world championships. You won with most of them with AE, or
one was with Losi, one was with like the J Concept / AE.
Right.
And then the other 2 are with the Associated.
Okay, so that was kind of a big deal when you switched over to AE back in the day. Was Ryan already there, or was Mayfield already there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
Mayfield and Jared were already there.
What kind of was the decision behind that? I mean, because you was really into Losi from get go.
Yeah, we basically, you know, at that point, you know, you're trying to like figure out. I was 16, and we're kind of like, you know, what is my career gonna look like? Like what, you know, what kind of was like the next step, basically. And it just came down to numbers, you know, like the Associated definitely offered me a lot better deal. Losi, you know, obviously was really trying to keep me. It just, numbers didn't work out really, and Associated really was, you know, had that V4 and their T4, like their whole line was basically new, and it was just starting to basically, you were noticing like, oh man, like this Associated is definitely putting the work in, like their cars are definitely getting there. And basically once we switched, it was just game over for like a year. Like the cars were so amazing to drive. I drove Travis Amesco's car like just for like a test, you know, like a run basically, just to see if I liked it, to see if I wanted to even take, you know, that time to go into Associated. And it was kind of like an eye opener. And yeah, I don't know, it was just, like I said, their cars were insane good, and it was just every time we went to the track, like we went to the Losi race, basically the my first race was associated, and it was it probably been my best race I've ever did. I've never won by so much at an event with basically the same guys I was basically driving with before. So yeah, it was kind of like from the get-go, it was kind of like we were all high-fiving. Like it was just like an amazing switch. Like you would never see a switch like that, as good as it was. Basically, I feel like. So it was a great career move for me. I mean, the associate really offered me a good deal. Basically, they were fully committed to our program. So yeah, it was hard to turn down. And like I said, I've made quite a bit of good deals in my years. So it was just a good move for myself and my dad. And my dad honestly made a good decision by taking the offer up with Brent.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Brent was talking with my dad, and my dad drove me to Associated, and basically we went in together. So
yeah,
it's kind of like what's going to be the best for us, and that and it was a good basically 15 years.
Yeah, he was with AE for a long time, dude. You wow, you won a lot with him. Look, like we said earlier, you have 4 world championships, 4 national titles. I have which one means the most to you? Which world championship means the most to you, and why?
I'd say like the 2011 was probably the most meaningful one, just winning both. Obviously, winning 2-wheel was like I always saw myself as like the 2-wheel driver, and like I kept on winning these world championships in 4-wheel, and so winning the 2-0 was like probably like the best feeling. And then I would say going back to like even just like 03, I mean, honestly, all of them, it's hard to really say, but all of them are great. I mean, my first one was kind of like a blur. I'm racing Kendall for the world championships, and I'm 16. It's like you kind of don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would say like I probably didn't even celebrate as much as I should have, but I'd say 05, I would say we celebrated well, with the J Concept BJ4, it was 18 in Italy. It's like, we definitely had a good night.
Oh yeah, I bet you did.
So,
the 2011, wasn't that in Finland or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's,
it was Finland.
Yeah.
Vasa.
Yeah. I heard a lot about that race. I heard it was really good.
A beautiful track.
Yeah.
Beautiful facility. Like, I mean, there was probably, if you had to ask, around the pits, it was probably one of the most nicest overall world's events that I've attended, for sure.
What made it so good? Like, what was so great about the track?
Just the whole facility, just the whole organization, like just the way that they, we had some bad weather and they would just send it, like they had it on radars and they would just go and cover the track instantly. Like there was no questions asked. They just knew exactly what they were doing. Like they were so professional. And basically we had rain and this and that, and it never affected the track. Like just because they were always on it before it happened. And they kind of did like they did everything right. It seemed like there was no one ever complained. Everything was done right. So it was hard. It's hard to like take that away from them. It's hard to do that. You're
not the first person that I've heard say that was probably the best 10 scale worlds they've been to. So I got to go look at some footage of it. I have, but now I got to go pay some attention.
I mean, it was beautiful. The way that they laid over like the carpet with some of the jumps, and because the track wasn't super high bite, so they wanted to have good sized jumps, and they did the carpet. So I mean, they were ahead of their time. They knew what they're doing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. How about national titles? 8 scale wise, how many times have you won it, or have you won it yet?
Just twice.
Just twice. Come on. Some people haven't even won it once. Which one? Where were they? You know what it is, because it's so hard to research people in RC.
Yeah, my first one was in 05. That was in Texas. And then my second one was, I believe it's 2012.
Yeah.
I believe it was at Thunder Alley.
You also have a Neo win, correct?
I have a Neo buggy win, which was pretty rad because that was with our prototype car. And I kind of struggled a lot of years at that track. And was getting better every time I would go, basically, and it was always a feeling in the throttle for me. Once I got that comfort, I mean, that year was, it was insane. Me and Jared battled it all the way out, basically to the end. And we were both on MX engines, so we both basically got the same run time. We ran the same tires, so basically it came down to the driver and the car. So it was good. It was very, very fun.
How about 8-scale worlds? What's the closest you've come, you think? Which one was yours that got away?
Second.
Which one was that?
I wouldn't really say any of them, really. I mean, I've had a couple of shares of my, in the race, all of them that I've been to, I've had a good shot, just had some failures, like in the one at in North Carolina. That one kind of was a one that we were running really, really fast. Me and Mayfield both started 1-2. And I had brake problems, like first pit stop, and I was running like up in like third. Like I was just starting to get comfortable, and my brakes like overheated and seized up and something. Yeah, it was crazy kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like I always think about that world because my car was so amazing. Like we got better and better every time we were on the track, and me and Mayfield basically battled it out in our semi and to start first and second. It was huge. Truly was whooping our butt.
He was so fast.
We just kept on like, watching videos, trying to figure out where we can kind of improve. So that one, I felt like it kind of got away. Obviously you didn't go very far in it, but I feel like if things would have just not have happened, basically if it was just up to the driver, it would have been pretty good.
I think, it was my first Worlds. I watched it on live RC actually, and Tree was just doing that line where he was jumping that
on off.
Oh, he was the only one that was doing it, and I think you guys.
His car was pretty amazing at that time, and like I said, we were just trying to watch film, like how is he hitting it, and we definitely got better and better through there, and I mean the whole track was huge. I mean there was a lot going on.
And then I think
we've had a good Worlds. I mean I've had plenty of good Worlds. So, I mean, I would say Vegas was one that kind of slipped away for me.
You got a raw deal right off the bat.
Yeah, that was like my I basically won our semi. Ty's dad, like, basically, like, protested of my pass that I put on him, which was like, it's like we're going through holes that are, the size of our car. So I just didn't jump the tabletop. I just came up short on it and dove it inside, and we basically just, we're side by side. And then, so I ended up starting second, which was not that big a deal. And then basically going to the line, they were, doing so much, just to pump up the crowd and this and that. And it was just hard to hear like the engine, and it just died.
Yeah. They had to start from pit lane.
Basically had to start from basically starting first. I started second, and then I started last. So it was kind of like, that was a very like,
you must have been pissed off.
Try to get through the back, basically in the very back where I was. If I could have tagged along up front, I think it could have been a different story.
Where did you end up finishing on that? Where did you end up finishing?
Fifth. I was
okay. Still, I mean, for like mentally, that screws with your mind too. You know what I mean? I guess it does. Like
it was hard to get through the pack because the track was it was so rough. So it was very hard to like pick and choose. Everyone's trying to go in the right lines. It's a little harder to start in the back, like on a track with that many ruts. Even if I were like, I remember like getting through some crashes, and then you just get stuck in a crash, and it just takes time. So
I was also, I think something that's very unique to you is that you're right-handed, but you drive left-handed, and
yes,
you also, I was listening, you don't. The way you do your throttle is you don't actually put your finger in the, obviously the throttle trigger. You put it on the side.
Yeah, it feels like I basically just rest it on the side of my finger, and I don't stick my finger all the way in because I don't know, like if I just when I first started, I wasn't, obviously my hands weren't that big, so I don't know if I basically have just stuck with the same technique from like day one. So. Yeah, it kind of like it digs into my finger a little bit. Like it gives me a little bit more feeling overall. Like I could drive with my finger all the way in, but it feels so weird like when I compress the brakes. That's what I can't get used to.
Right, I get you.
So it's just something weird that I do, and I've just always done it.
No, when I heard you say it, I knew exactly what you was talking about because I kind of do it as well. Because my when I do race, my finger, due to my accident, my finger doesn't respond the same. So I kind of have to put it on the side, and like the M12 has a little screw there, and you can,
It's kind of funny, but like it works out. Like I trip out really, like you know, you're going up there, and then once you're like on the track, it's like you forget like what you're doing. You know, it just goes natural to you.
Okay. So fast forward a little bit. You was with AE for a while. You was kind of getting a little disheartened. I mean, the first time I ever heard this in RC is like you got suspended like for a while or something. I can't remember what the whole thing was about, but that was like what, in 2018, I want to say, maybe?
No, it was like
17?
17, I think it was.
Yeah, and that kind of, for me, that was like very, very rare thing to see. And I was kind of, at that point, I knew, I was like, yeah, Cav isn't going to be with AE much longer.
I mean, it was kind of just like, you know, you have guys there at events, and, you know, you're kind of like, we were always kind of searching, you know, at these events, like the whole tent, you know, they're all searching for like that secret special thing that's going to help us all do better. But we were having some technical problems, and we were just basically asking for some help, and my dad was asking for help, and, you know, basically it was just kind of like we were just getting ran around and kind of joked about, and then, you know, then it gets serious. So it's kind of like, you know, it was mainly just with us. It's like, it's kind of like other people try to get involved. It's like, it's hard, you know, we're all there trying racing. We're racing there super late, you know, everyone's, you know, gets tired, and it just, you know, it was just bad timing.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't really anything too serious. It's just bad timing, you know, so kind of what it was.
Hey,
it was a learning mistake, and just, you know, basically just told me like, all right, you can't, you know, do this, and like, hey, I haven't done it. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people have to understand, like, this is racing, and you get heated, even when you're like, especially even more when you guys are competitive because you want to win. But it's also,
it's harder because like we're racing like for ourselves, I guess, but we're also racing for companies. So it's like, you know, it's hard to, you know, when people are at the office trying to say something when you're at the race doing something, you know. So it's kind of like, I feel like you have to basically just sit back and just really realize what's going on. But then it's like, you know, the companies obviously have the upper hand on what we're doing. So it's kind of like you have, I mean, like I said, I learned from mistakes. You just can't do what I did to basically, I just, you know, just got to go and be the bigger person and go to the, you know, to the boss, or go to someone that's higher than, you know, where I'm at. And okay, I understand that now. It's like you learn that stuff throughout your life. So.
Yeah, trust me, I've had my blow ups at people and all that stuff, and then realize I shouldn't have done that. But I mean, and also this is your paycheck, like, so, you know, and what I think what a lot of people
I think we ended up that weekend we still won. I think we didn't do that well in Nitro, but and we ended up winning Truggy. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just kind of like that race is long and tiring, and I feel like that's a little bit of a problem too.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
long days.
Yeah, I know.
Long night.
Yeah, I know all about that. So, I'm sure you do.
Everyone gets a little more worked up. For sure.
So, what was after your 15 years of AE? What were the main reasons for you leaving?
I basically, like, you know, I was kind of looking to see like some different options, and basically trying to, you know, I wanted to try to like better my program overall. And, you know, I wanted to work with Joe, and he was able to basically set me up with a good deal with Yokomo. And so he basically, you know, was like, hey, this is the deal I can get with Yokomo. Would you be wanting to do it? And I said, yeah, like that would be great. And then so we basically kind of started talking a little bit, and then, I don't know. Like there was really nothing against Associated. I was just kind of like thinking I just wanted to do something slightly different that was supposedly going to be better for me, but it ended up not being. So
yeah,
I'd say in all my years of, you know, racing, that was probably my worst decision. I probably should have just stayed and just kind of sucked it up, kind of like things, and maybe just talked about what I didn't like sometimes to them, and, you know, maybe figured it out. But I mean, I was thinking like, all right, I'm going to be working with, you know, Mayfield. I'm working with my, you know, Joe. It's good. We're all good friends. Like, this is going to work out great. But it just didn't pan out that way, really.
Are you still on good terms with AE, or is that?
Yeah,
okay.
To be honest, I mean, I never really said anything bad.
Right.
I don't really have any grudges with anybody. I mean, I still talk to like basically everyone there.
So,
but I don't know. It's
yeah,
just what it was.
Well, I mean, obviously you had your best results with AE, and you had some early brilliance with Yokomo, but definitely, I would say this year that you've been racing for him, it's not been the Cav that I consider, like, yes, you have had some good races and stuff like that, but you've also had some.
Yeah, nothing too spectacular, nothing to brag about, really. And like, but I mean,
Joseph and I have talked about it a few times, like, hey, you're not even in the A-main in some of these events, and that's like unheard of. So I just, and to me, you was always that driver who was able to take a car that was not 100% and still do well or get consistent top 5 results, top 3 results. So we kind of just knew something was off. What, like?
Yeah, it just, I don't know. Like I said, it just, their cars are just sensitive to drive. It's just different style. Like I'm very twitchy. Like I like a car like I barely put any input in it, but that, you know, it was just a different, like, it made it feel like I've never driven it before, almost, like sometimes. That's kind of how it felt like. So I don't know. Sometimes it didn't really go that well, and then we would make some good changes, and basically like the best I think I had was like maybe top 3s, like, and that was kind of about it, really. Like it was just always like we always worked really hard, trying to like just to gain something. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't really work out. I don't know. I had more success on carpet than I did with dirt. Like every time I drove the cars on carpet, I was like, oh, these are really good. Like it feels comfortable to me. I just go out there and do my thing. Yeah. Not putting too much effort in, and it's just everything's working, you know. But like every time I go drive on dirt, it's just always be like needed to feel like I needed to change something to make it feel comfortable. And we just never felt like I got the right settings really. I think we were close, but we just never hit those right settings, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't think it's not only you, man. I mean, even, yes, Mayfield, he's had more time on the car. He's found success, but he's also not been as successful in some of the races that he should be, you know, that I think he should be, like the Worlds recently, you know. So it's definitely.
Yeah, we were all just kind of like trying our best there. Yeah. Yeah, that was another race. It's like we basically we kind of started off slow. We got pretty good. We had good pace. We seated well, and then it was kind of like we just tapped out. You know, you just it's so. And you're kind of scared to change something because you know you can just make it worse. Like instead of really making it better, and you know we had put a couple good runs in, we'd change something, it wasn't as good, so we just go back. You know, so it's like we just tapped out. We would always tap out basically, and never. I don't think we ever could really find the right thing. It was like we always kind of started off close, and then we could make a little bit of a gain, and then it just would just stop, you know. And that was always hard for me. Is like I would change stuff like before, and I would go, okay, that was better, like, and then I would know exactly what to do, and I would do it, and it would be good. Like there was hardly times I'd go backwards. So that was like hard to like comprehend for me when I did the Yokomo thing. I was like, I can't change certain things, and like it wasn't doing what I wanted to do, kind of thing. So
right. So
I think that's a hard.
Yeah,
that was hard.
And even Joseph was one time. I remember he was talking about your setup with your associated car, and I was like, it's just so hard for me to drive because you have to be so fast, you know, because it's so, the way your car was set up, you just couldn't do it. And so I kind of get what you mean by you like a twitchy car, but if this car, you can't do it, then it's just a different, like the steering, we always had to like numb it down. But then when you're numbing it down, it's not like, it's kind of like you want it to be responsive, but you don't want it to be responsive. So we were like slowing the steering down, kind of like compensating for something that is obviously not 100% right. And so like, I don't know, that just threw off my whole entire like my driving. It seemed like I just didn't drive very well, like at all at these events that I went to. But it was funny, like we go to these carpet races and I could drive it like a standard setting and I just did better. So I know there's something for sure that isn't 100% right, that is making it much harder than it really needs to be. Well,
it really comes down to it.
We'll talk about the recent carpet race you attended last week in a minute. So it's pretty much safe to say that for 2020, you will be with Yokomo. I mean, that's pretty much the biggest rumor going around right now. And yeah, you don't know what's happening, but it's safe to say that no Yokomo.
Oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's 100% done.
Okay, there we go. From the man himself. And, you know, especially if your post this weekend with no hashtags for Yokomo.
Yeah, I mean, I basically, I went there, you know, basically they paid me through the month. I was done on the 1st. So I felt like, okay, like they paid me, I can go race. I was able to have a little help getting to the events and stuff like that. So, and then had my entries helped, you know, and then J Concepts obviously with the tires. So it wasn't very challenging to go. I kind of, it was a last minute decision. That's why I don't think they ever really posted that I was going.
Right.
I basically decided like a few days before and it worked out. I thought I did what I needed to do basically at the event to try to win. Didn't plan out that way, but you know, met a lot of nice people. First time going to that track, so that was fun. So
yeah,
it was positive, but always a negative.
Yeah.
with some of the racing incidents. So
yeah, we'll touch on that a little bit when we get into the whole the people's perspective of you. S-Works, man, I kind of like the grapevine in RC is so amazing, but I kind of was like heard that you was testing S-Works like 2 weeks before you announced it, and
yeah, I mean the car was I mean it's like they gave I ended up messaging S-Works and they just set me up from the beginning. I mean they were always 100% like into it, and I mean they were very surprised me just contacting them in general. So yeah, they've been really, really positive the whole entire year. They've made great changes to the car. They've listened to basically everybody now on the team. I mean, our team is huge compared to what it was from the beginning with just big name drivers. So they've definitely done things right for sure this year. I think they're going to be releasing kind of like an update to the car we are currently running. So it would just come out of the box that way. So, yeah, I think they're just kind of slowly getting their stuff together and kind of making a name, you know, where people are actually considering them. You know, where before people are just kind of like, you know, kind of just brush it off and, you know, kind of make jokes with the car. And to be honest, it's been a pretty good car, good quality. There's not really a whole lot of complaints.
I think they had to get over the whole, when they, you know, the Tushihara thing, and when A-Main kind of took it over. And then Max has done a really good job. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think he's the real reason why they've been able to do so much success this year. I mean, he's obviously a smart businessman, and he's made good decisions. And, you know, just getting me, I was telling, you know, certain people, it's like, they see me join, they're going to be like, okay, well, I can consider this possibly. And, you know, obviously people consider it now. And basically that's how I think they've gotten some of the guys they have. Because, you know, even for me, I was like, oh man, like I'm going to be the only guy here. And basically halfway through the year, you know, I got teammates, Panos and Elliot, and it just, you know, keeps on expanding. So it's like, you just keep seeing it. I mean, Jorn has been there from basically day one, so I kind of knew from there. Like, I've seen his results and his driving. Like, I'm like, okay, he's done well. I gave the car a chance, and I think it worked out. I think it's overall it's been a good car. I mean, I came close to winning AMS, got a second, and then Nationals, me and Spencer kind of battled it out, got second. So, I mean,
and also I think this year
the beginning of the year was a little harder.
Yeah.
Just that whole transition, and then we basically got like a bunch of upgrades to the car, and in March, and basically from there on, it's just gotten better. So. Yeah,
Max is.
So we knew that.
Max is into racing. I mean, that's obvious. SRX was one of the first companies to join RCGP. He's into it. I got to actually finally meet him at this RCGP event. I guess my question would be, what is the I mean, people would say, oh, all pillow bowl cars are the same, and they're not. They obviously ain't. What's the big difference with this car compared to your AE, would you say?
I would say it's a little smoother to drive, especially on like the little bit bigger tracks. I would say Thunder Alley was the tighter track. I would definitely say I fought a little bit of like the steering, low speed steering there. It doesn't rotate as well as my associate car, but it has more traction. So you're kind of like able to get on the gas different. I'd say it's just a little bit easier car, I would think, overall, just for your average guy. Like I said, it just has a little more traction. It's a little more stable. Very similar setups that you could basically put on the cars. But I would say the quality seems maybe slightly better. Stuff lasts a little bit longer. I just can see it from, my dad's part, where he does all the wrenching. It's like we're not needing to order so much stuff or replace a lot of the stuff at times. I mean, they have a lot of options. Obviously, we're trying to. Yeah, they do have a lot on what we really need. So that's basically, the next step is just kind of figuring out what materials we really want, what we don't need, and I would say a lot of the stuff they do make is being really good. Like I was very surprised that everything they've kind of have redone, like just like in their differentials, like they don't leak, they're smooth. They're consistent. So I would say overall their stuff is very, very well, like all the way down the board. And I think it's just going to it would just get better, basically, once they release the newer updated car that we're basically racing. Because right now it's coming with the old rear end. You could purchase the upgrade. But like I said, I think once everyone can just get the kit and just build it, that will be the next step.
Yeah. They've definitely made leaps and bounds, and they've just they're making even more leaps and bounds. They just hired Jerome Sartell as their European team manager. Definitely pushing, man. Definitely a car and brand that's on the rise.
They're definitely trying. They're definitely not scared to put the effort in.
And I kind of feel that you kind of focused a lot more on 10 scale this year than 8 scale, being as it was a 10 scale year. I mean, a world year.
Yeah, I feel like you just race a little more 10 scale in general, especially like in the States, because we have like the J Concept series. So it's like we have off road and we have carpet, and I feel like you just do like a few different events, and then we missed Psycho Nitro this year. So I don't know. I feel like it's very similar. I feel like you kind of start off a lot more electric, and then you kind of do gas, and then you go back to a little bit electric, and then it's like the end of the year always seems to finish off with some nitro events. Like we just did the RCGP. There's a US Open that's next week. I won't be able to attend because I'm going to be basically.
Oh, it's this weekend actually.
Stay-at-home dad. So, so it's like, and then I have the Boogieland race. And then who knows? On top of that, there might be one more event in December. Who knows? So like we can race basically all the way to the end of the year.
Yeah.
With nitro. So.
Well, I know. At one point you tried JQ's car before that was the biggest rumor. They just come into JQ. I really wanted it to happen, but I knew.
Yeah, I mean, he was really into it. I mean, he definitely, he offered me a good deal. I drove his car, we'd go out testing, and he was able to get into Thunder Alley, I would just go with him, and I'd drive his car at the end of the day just to tell him, like, hey, you went in the right direction, you did this. And it honestly, it always felt pretty good to drive. So I just, overall, like, it would just, I don't know, it would be hard to, like, make that step. I feel like a little bit, but, I mean, his stuff is good enough. I feel like he always seems to try. So it's like, you know, you like seeing people, like, trying to do that. So
and contrary to popular
he
belief,
has a pretty good team.
Yeah, I mean, we're growing, and contrary to popular belief, you and him are good friends.
Yeah.
And got along and hang out quite a lot.
I've actually known Joseph for a long time. I think, like, probably 05, 06, probably. I mean, maybe even before that. Like, I think I went to the Worlds in Finland, or, yeah, was it Sweden? Yeah, Sweden, 04. I believe it was the first time I don't know if I ever met him, but I would have been there. And then he just started going more and more races in the U.S. And then, yeah, I mean, a few years ago, we basically, like, when he was in Costa Mesa, we lived very, very close. So we, you know, would go bowling or go out, have, you know, dinner. Like, yeah, it's a super cool guy. You know, it's like, he always likes BSing people and this and that. But, I mean, it's overall, like, you know how it is. It's like once you get to know someone, they're completely different.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We ended up getting along, and I still do. I mean, we shoot the shit, and you know, we just
he's a good dude. He's hard to read. That's his biggest deal, and especially hard to read through Facebook. So good stuff.
Yeah,
all right.
Like Facebook.
Oh, yeah, trust me, I know. You said earlier that your dad wrenches on your car. Does he still? What does he do that mostly?
Yeah, he just is like basically my 8-scale mechanic.
Okay, right.
That's what I would consider him. Obviously, when we're at the events, he's like the pit guy and everything. At the races, I do our shocks, you know, clean the car, tires. But like mechanic-wise, he does what he needs to be, you know, to kind of do. And I tell him, hey, I think we need to change this, and you know, he changes it, and basically that. I mean, it's kind of always been the same way. I just started to work on my 10-scale cars, basically probably back in like 07, and I basically did it to like kind of split it up, you know, because it's so much wrenching on so many different cars. So he takes my 8-scale stuff to his house and does his wrenching. And then sometimes he'll come over, you know, if we're getting ready for like a big race, like he needs to use like, you know, I have a buffer and sander and, you know, just to use like some more serious tools. We'll come and wrench together and kind of just work on. But for the most part, he does it at his house, and I do my 10-scale here. So.
And you guys have a heated relationship, man. You guys get at each other at the track, man. Is that something that that's just a relationship that you and him developed over the years? Because looks like he gets.
It's just a track thing.
Yeah.
It's like in a normal like day life, it's like we're never ever at each other. Like it's like completely normal. It's just his personality mixes with mine, you know, at the track, and it's like I'm taking it maybe more serious at times than he does, and I don't know, just certain things that he says that like doesn't make sense to me. So then, you know, it just clashes. So I would say like this year has been the better year. You know, we basically sat down and like just said, dude, like we can't be doing what we've been doing. It doesn't make any sense. Like we're both working together. We both want to go out there and do well. So it's like, yeah, we basically, this year has been a better year for sure. Just at the races.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, even with a whole different program, like it just seemed like everything's been just better in general. Like we've actually enjoyed our time more, it seems like. So.
Yeah, you guys look like you had fun. That day you was practicing before RCGP. So, yeah, man, it's pretty cool that you still get to do this with your dad. So I think that's
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that he's able to go to basically all the races that, you know, I go to for Nitro. So you always need someone on your side in Nitro. So that's always been a positive.
Yeah.
So
how do you approach?
That stuff never falls apart.
Yeah, I mean, you usually finish most of your races.
I don't have very many DNFs.
Yeah. How do you approach RC mentally?
I try to just stay focused and, try to eat healthy and just,
Mm-hmm.
Exercise and just kind of stay, just in the zone, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I'm at the race, like getting ready for the races, like I try to visualize like, the track and just see where I can kind of charge and where I would be comfortable and just kind of stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah. I think so too. I think RC is such a mental game, but it's also like people may not think of it physically, but you have to kind of, being physically sound. Like I am.
You gotta stay sharp.
Yeah, I'm not one that should be talking about physical because I'm a fat fuck. But definitely, I get that, man. I mean, as you get,
I just think you eat well. It's like your brain it just reacts faster, and you just have to feel like you're doing something right. You watch real sports and how they train and this and that. It's like we kind of need to do the same thing, to keep our brains healthy. So.
All right, now I think you have one of the most misunderstood drivers in RC. I think a lot of people, even myself, I told you before I got to know you, I was actually scared to come up and say anything to you. I don't know what it is. You heard his stories. Even just recently, like the what happened at this carpet race that you was at in Wisconsin, I think. But as I've gotten to know you, I think you're just a regular dude who's wants to win. This is your job. There's a time for fun. There's a time for playing around. There's a time for being serious, and there's a time to be approached and a time not to be approached, like anybody else, who's doing their job. What would you have to say to people who have this conception of you?
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of just seems that it just has always kind of been that way. I mean, Kendall was a guy that was super hard to approach. I would say overall, I don't feel like I'm very hard to approach. Like as soon as someone says something, it's not like I ignore them. I would definitely give them a time, and if they have any questions, I basically always answer it. My local track they're very laid back there, so everyone that ever comes in there, basically they can come up to us at any time. I mean, that's the cool part about our hobby is you can go up to the top pro and basically ask them all the questions. In any other industry, you can't do that at all. So I don't know. I just feel like certain people just kind of just say something and it just kind of, works along, and it, people start, saying something and it just starts to be a rumor. It's like, I'm not that hard to talk to. It's just, I think people kind of like get a little bit like shy and just, we're always kind of at these events where, you're busy too. And maybe it's just the way it looks, from a distance is, where I never just sit in my pit, basically. Like, there's never a time that I'm, like, sitting and, like, just absolutely doing nothing. Like, so, it maybe it looks different, from another eye, basically. But I would say, like, overall, like, anybody come up and we can talk. And if they have any sort of questions, I mean, I'm never afraid to ask. My Facebook Messenger is always full with questions. I feel like I respond pretty frequently. So I'd say my social media wise, I guess a lot of people ask me questions too there. So it shouldn't really be any different than they come up to me in real life and shake my hand and we can talk and do our thing. I mean, I've been around the RC industry for a lot of years. I know kind of like when I was coming up, it's like these guys weren't so friendly too, like, so it was kind of like I was always shy. So it's just depending on personalities and whatnot. But I mean, overall, when I'm at the race, it's like we're there for our jobs, but we're also there to help other people too. I mean, that's our job too. So our job titles have a lot of different
I know
going on. So
I know. I think, but for me personally, I think you're one of it's you and Mayfield who I always watch on the stand to see, like.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And that's what and you know what? I really wish more racers were like that. And I think people read into that too much, but they have to understand, man, you get heat. Like people, it's a whole different ball game and you guys are up there because this is your job. Like I keep saying that. So I'm always watching,
Yeah, it's I mean, some people just, they like it, you know, and some people, they don't. I mean, it's like, you can't like everybody. So everybody's different. If we were all the same, it would be boring, right?
Yeah. So do you did make a on your Facebook this past weekend, because we talked about it, but something happened at this carpet race this weekend. You want to briefly touch on that so you can clear the air for people if they thinking something?
First time ever in my racing days I've seen something like this happen. Basically, so the whole entire event, they had a roller in, like, basically you're coming at this roller as fast as you can. You're accelerating, and then you have to brake, and then you backside it, and then you kind of power up the hill to the next section. Well, when I first got there, I was like, we're sending it over this, like, we're jumping to the top. So basically they were like, announced it, like, no one's allowed to jump on the top, you have to roll it. So people were kind of like, they did it. It was like a slap on the wrist, basically. Well, after A1, several drivers basically launched it after the roller, which is after the finish line, and, you know, hit the building, which, you know, is probably about 15, 20 feet easily going in. You're on the throttle, like, you're not trying to brake. So I could see it, like, so that was a no-no. That should never be allowed anyways. So they put down this white tape. I kind of knew about it, but I didn't really, like, it wasn't like, hey, drivers, we're putting down this white tape, like, you can't jump it, we're going to disqualify you, like, from the entire run. So basically, I was led the whole entire race. Brock was second, you know, challenging me. Yeaaaaa got around him, and I had, like, a little bit of a cushion. And then, like, obviously, you know, the last few laps, I'm just kind of like, I have enough of a gap to kind of just hit my marks, but just don't do anything, like, completely stupid. And I needed to win A2 to basically force the overall going into A3. So last lap, Yeaaaaa's all over my back end. I, like, hit the next two lines really, really good. We basically came charging into the front section, and I just didn't brake. Like, I was on the brakes, and I just didn't brake, like, if I was going to, like, continue, like, the next lap and, like, backside this. I was just afraid because they changed the carpet after A1s, because the carpet ripped while we were racing a four-wheel main. So the carpet went from, like, a blue carpet to a black carpet, and it had different grip than what I was used to basically the whole time. So, like, sometimes if you hit it with too much brakes, your car would stop, and then you would kind of go over the roller. So I was afraid of not being, like, if I gripped it too like much brake, my car would stop a little bit before the line, and Yeaaaaa would just, you know, pass me because he was right behind me. So, like I said, like, I just kind of slowly eased into my brakes once I got to, like, basically the line, and then once I hit the line, I basically jumped the line, the white line by, like, a foot. And basically once I landed, people were, like, started talking, and I'm like, they're really gonna, like, question, like, I was, like, on, like, the brakes, like, I wasn't on the throttle. So they basically, like, I come off the driver's and it's like peace, like no one's making a sound, it's quiet, people are booing, like, this and that, like, people are like, that's, you know, not right. And I'm like,
oh man,
I'm like, what are they gonna do? And then, like, literally I'm walking on the track, and they're like, Yeaaaaa took the win and this and that, and I go like, you're really gonna disqualify me, like, from, like, my, like, you're not, you know, basically just like I wasn't even in the race, like, and so they were like, yeah, like, you jumped the line. I go like, okay, like, I just was like amazed on how you can basically say that. You could see that I was on, like, the brakes, I wasn't accelerating, like, there wasn't no danger to be said about it. And then I have people telling me, like, you're a professional, you should know what you're doing, and this and that. I go, you don't even know what goes through our brain in that 5 minutes trying to do what we're doing. And then let alone you were having to do, like, some, you know, something that we're not technically used to, and have to, like, stop before this little line, like, you know, 5 feet after the line. I'm just like, this is unheard of. And, like, where it was, it's like, you can go back and watch the video. It's like, you kind of almost get embarrassed. Like, you're like, this really was, like, this was it.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to go check it out.
You can't even believe it.
Oh, well.
And like I said, like I probably had more people come up to me in that hour basically, and they were just like, "I'm sorry, like you drove great, like it was the best race we've seen." And these people have never seen us drive ever, you know, and you know, it just a mixed emotion of like people like saying, you know, basically what they thought, and you know, it's like that's fine, you know, they basically are a new track, and you know, it was a poor decision where they put the line, and like I said, I feel like other people got away with basically destroying their cars and hitting the walls, but then I get penalized for it afterwards, because if they would have just enforced it from the beginning, then we would have had practice at what we were doing. And, you know, being able to set up for it and like to understand like, okay, they're serious. Well, how do I know you're serious if you basically have slapped someone on the wrist every single time? I'm not going to lose the race because I checked up too much, kind of thing. So
yeah, it shouldn't even be
I would be
a thing
my butt for doing that than if I was to jump a little bit further, you know, on the line. Because Yeaaaaa, he wasn't downsiding like we were. He was kind of coming off it a little bit further, but he would set his front end basically like he would almost jump to the line. But his front wheels would pass, but he would just kind of land like right on it. So that was okay. So basically when I passed by like literally a car length, it was like the end of the world. So basically that took away my chances of winning the overall. Took my chances away with winning the series, because me and Brock basically tied on points when it was all said and done. After A3, I ended up winning A3. So I scored second overall. And with that, he had an extra win on me. I just needed the extra point to basically, you know, win fair and square. So, yeah, it was kind of like devastating to like, I basically felt like I won the race, but didn't win the race.
Yeah, and even to have something like that
was just so lame.
Yeah.
I feel like, so.
But you know, social media kind of gets involved. So I didn't know what happened. So until I asked you, so that's what it was all about. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was something I've never seen in 20 plus years of my racing. It's like, it's just things just need to be like, everyone's try to like have all these rules, but I think the biggest thing is they need to start enforcing these like from the start of the event. Like you can't just change things halfway through, like, and try to like be the tough guy. Like be the tough guy from the beginning and just stick to that.
Yeah.
Because,
I agree.
Okay, I could have gotten away with it, you know, in A1. You can race to the line. If we're battling for the overall time and win, you know, sending your car past the line, you're going to get there faster, and I would be braking. It's just not fair to be doing it halfway through the fence. So.
I get that, man. I think they shouldn't even in a race. It's kind of like if you have a part of the track, it should be something like, for instance, at RCGP, they had that jump where you could have literally cut the track, and then they put that pole there so people couldn't cut the track. Now, you know what? Some people still kind of jumped on the inside or the outside of that pole and made it. But so many people got caught up and hit. Yeah. I think now that's fine for me, but when you have to leave it to where somebody has to judge how and where,
that wouldn't be right.
Yeah. So I get that.
They should have, like I said, it should have just been something that was set from the start of the weekend, and it would have been simple. We would have known. But if it's halfway through, it's kind of like, what's the point? Like we're a few races, 10 races basically left to go. You're trying to reinforce this for like the professionals. Like we're out there trying to like harm someone. So it's kind of like,
I don't know.
It's hard to even talk about. But it means frustrating.
Yeah, but you know what, man? I wish more racers kind of showed more emotion, because you guys ain't robots, and I think we're lacking personality in our sport. You guys are pros, and I like, let's be realistic. Yeah, you want to say good luck, but you want to beat everybody on that driver's stand. You know?
Yeah.
Just like real racing. So people just need like it. I get it. From looking from the outside in, it doesn't look, but once you get in there and you go to more races and you see how things work, man, I would be like, embrace it. Hey, just I'm waiting for that guy.
I just know, like, if basically like the situation that I was in, it's like some young kid, kind of basically do it. Yeah. It's like they might not know 100% on what's going on. You're gonna just not allow them to get their overall finish because of like something like this. It's like kind of like embarrassing, really. Like I could totally see like shooting past and hitting the wall. Like that should be just never allowed. Like the announcer needs to come in and go, hey, like this is definitely not allowed. You do this, you're gonna not be here racing. Like there should definitely be a difference of what I did to what other people are basically were doing there. So I was like the guy that got penalized for like doing nothing basically.
Yeah, I think you're just a normal dude who's fast at racing RC cars. And I think once people get to know you, they'll know like where you're coming from a lot. So if you see him at the track, just go up and say what's up. Don't be like me. Don't be scared of him. So
all right. Anytime, anywhere.
Sure. Okay, future of RC. So you're 33 now, you have a family. That takes up a lot more of your time. How much longer do you think you can be competitive in RC?
I would say easily another 5-7 years, I would say. Would be, honestly, that would be good. Who knows? I could go further than that. At this point, I don't feel like I have kind of lost any of my ability. I feel like I basically just have the same drive as I always have. So, once I think you lose the drive, then it's like, okay, it doesn't start to become fun anymore. But overall, I have a ton of fun when I'm at the track. I love, still preparing all my parts for all the events. So, yeah, I definitely have quite a bit more left in me in racing. And, from the whole... I would say overall, it's like I always have fun. So it's like basically once you lose that, then you kind of start questioning it. But yeah, my ability, I always have 100% behind me. So
how about 8 scale worlds? I know all of you guys want that. You may feel, I say if you're thinking you got 6 more years left in you, so you got 3 more. If you can do that, would that be, or would that be like?
I don't know. I don't really have a set time. Basically if something else better comes up in my life, and then I'll think about it. But at the moment, it's like I enjoy what I do. So I guess when that opportunity is not there anymore, then you think about what you want to do. But overall, I think I have good sponsors, and it's like you just try to put yourself in good positioning, and you just kind of every day is just, you never know, but I just continue to do what I've basically been doing my whole life. So, I love it.
So it is 8 scale worlds next year where we talked about this. You race a lot of 10 scale, but I assume a lot more focus on 8 scale next year. Like you'll be at all the big races.
You basically a couple months before the worlds, it's just full nitro. It's hard for us just to say we're going to put a lot more energy into 8 scale. And the start of the year, we're all 10 scale. Getting ready for re-race, we have CRC usually at the beginning, and then you have Desert Classic. So you have 3 events basically before. I guess we have 2, and then we go to February in our nitro, and then March we go back to 10 scale. So it's basically once we get probably 2-3 months away from Worlds is when we start to basically it's all nitro, because we race so much back and forth. It's hard to say, oh, I'm going to take away my 10 skill. So that's kind of how I always put it. It's at least 2-3 months in real hard preparation, and you basically give yourself 2 weeks of wrenching time, just relaxing time before the Worlds. Is basically what I've always done.
Okay.
So you just put the time in, you put the effort in, you do what you need to do testing, and then, you prepare your stuff to make it, make it right. You're relaxed, your energy level is good. You're excited to get back to the track and basically compete, so.
All right. You have dabbled in on-road and had success. Can we see more of that in your future? Maybe as you get a little older?
I don't know. On-road, like in the U.S., is just always kind of up and down. It seems like we did have a very good turnout at this year's Nationals at Speed World, so that was exciting. Bringing a lot more people to the on-road track was good to see. I don't think they have had too many entries basically the last few years, so that was good to see. I love racing on road. It's always fun.
Yeah.
The speed is so fast these days.
Mm-hmm.
The cars work so well. So I don't know. I mean, it really just depends. Like, to me, it's fun to go race on road for the week, but to be honest, like, I'm all off-road guy. I like the jumping. I like, setting up for the corners and sliding the rear end. It's just, that's what's fun.
Gotcha.
On road, it's like, it's cool to do for like a week. And then I'm like, all right, I'm done for a while.
Well, you do have the 8-scale Worlds going on not too far from you now. Well, out by Thunder Alley out there.
I'll probably head out and definitely watch the finals. I kind of been like watching on the Facebook Live RC, I think it's doing. So kind of seeing how like the guys are running. Like I definitely know, the names of the guys. So I was thinking probably to definitely go out and watch the finals.
Something I like to see you compete in. Most definitely.
Check it out. Yeah, I've never driven actually an 8-scale on-road car. Basically, I've watched only a few times. They're pretty insane how fast they are, and you're basically bogging the cars down in the corners. Like to slow it down is crazy with the way they shift.
Yeah,
they would for sure be fun.
Yeah.
It's like ultimate driving.
I think so. I think so. I'll be watching it myself. Okay. You've been in the industry for a long time. Your thoughts on the industry at the moment? You think it's in a good place? Your thoughts on our industry at the moment? You think it's in a good place? Could it be better? What would you like to see improve?
I would say, our industry is kind of like, it just has a lot going on in it. I feel like there's a lot of companies, 10, 15 years ago, there was only a selected amount of people that were kind of involved. You knew, the power, house, companies, and that's kind of how it was. But now it's a different industry. There's so many different choices. So it's like kind of flooded a little bit, I feel like. And that's what's making some of the companies, not do as well, because there's just so much competition. So I think you will definitely see in the next 5 years, probably some companies maybe, go out of business or whatnot, but it's easier to make stuff. It's just harder to get everyone to run it, so I think it's flooded. I like the industry. The racing is very, very good. I feel like always tons of people at these events, like the JC Carpet Finals had, I think, record-breaking numbers for the series. So it's like on the racing side at the track, it seems to be really good. Every event we go to, it seems like it's packed. But like I said, I just think there's a lot more competition with all these companies.
Well, I think we need to grow it somehow, some way. We need to do everything in our power from every angle to grow it. But I'm not getting on that soapbox today.
I think a lot of it would be just, there's so much negativity on little things. I feel like people just need to get off the whole social media complaining bus and actually consider helping, not just always talking behind a computer and saying negative things. There's so many different tracks, and all the people running them are all trying their hardest. Trying to keep the all the companies basically being able to sell their product. So it's kind of like, you got to really be behind your tracks, and even your hobby shops. It's like, you go just down the hobby shop walls. It's like, it definitely makes it where, you have the right people working, you're going to be good. So just finding the right people doing the right things and like I said, I just think that some of the stuff is on the too much like negativity, I feel like, and I think people just need to get a little more positive. Like there's just too much like bad stuff that's really not that bad, like people are saying, and just kind of just enjoy it because it's just what it is. It's like you're not really going to make it better by just keep giving negativity. So
yeah, I like to. You have to. If you're gonna complain, offer solutions. I like to say, and viable solutions.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Exactly. I just think there's just needs to be a little bit like more professionalism, like at the track. Like the RCGP, to me, is very professional. They did great interviews. I heard nothing but good things. People were asking me what I thought about the whole entire event, and I just said, from a professional standpoint, it was what we need. I said any of these tracks can do this. Any of the companies, any of our media companies can be doing these things. Like, it's not very difficult.
Yeah.
They want to be on social media talking about this and this and that. I'm like, when we're at the races, you could just do a little bit more, film what you need to film, and then guess what? For that next week or two, before we have another event, you have good media. You have some good things to talk about. Like, and people can watch some videos. Maybe some people need to see some more videos instead of so much talking.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think well, one of my questions is: do you feel that a world championship should be determined over a series or in the one-off 2-year events like that we have now?
To be honest, I don't think that that's ever going to happen. Like, I don't think that's really like what needs to be done to like make a difference. I just think it's overall, it's a great series. Nitro doesn't have a series like this, like on a worldwide scale. So, and Nitro is a very, I would say, kind of like a more professional class. Like it takes a lot. It's like F1. I mean, it's just, you got a lot of different engineers, a lot of different teams, and a lot of talent. So it's like, it makes it makes sense to have a series that basically races all around the world. We have so much talent. Why not just race it a few more times than just, once every 2 years? So it's cool to see.
Yes.
I feel like it just, I don't know if you'll ever get, if Martin isn't going to just hand down and go like, okay, we should do this. Like, I think if it would have already been done by now.
Well, I don't think IFMAR should go anywhere.
The world's so interesting as it is that it's just that, basically that week of racing.
Well, I don't want to see the worlds go anywhere. Great. We need the worlds. That's like the Olympics. I like to call, like Joseph. I love the worlds. Like, I love it. I've never been to one, but I love watching them from home. And
they're the best overall ran. Like professional timetables. Like, you just know what's going on. Like so many races you go to, you don't know what's going to happen. That's what with RCGP. I mean, they had great time schedule. You were like, okay, I'm going to be up at this time. I have an hour and a half to go work on my car. You can go grab lunch, and I could be back at this exact time, and I'll have a few minutes to spare, and I go grab my radio, and I grab my car, and go drive. Like, they were never ahead of the game. They were never late. It's good interviews. It's good publicity for all the companies. I mean, and then they're editing videos throughout the entire weekend, basically to show people after the race. Like, people go, oh, this is what the race is all about. Like,
and it's not finished.
This is what I get if I go.
There's a whole series of videos coming for the whole season that they're putting together.
But I'm saying that it's like, at least they were doing stuff.
Yeah.
They have a lot of like content that basically show, where so many races we go to, there's like, we don't really get to see it like much after the race.
Okay.
So
I think you had fun. I was hoping you do better though.
That was great.
Yeah. I wanted you to make a podium, to be honest. I was like, man, this is like your home track.
Yeah, I feel like if I had my dad, it would have definitely been a different story. Yeah. And at least the hour main, the Saturday was just not my fault. Like, I finished fourth. I had my pull strap broke in my pit, so my pit was super long. And then the second main, like before my first pit, my pill insert broke in the front. My hinge fell out. So that was just like misfortune. Our main, basically, first pit stop, I had oil, like fuel with my fuel gun. I got stuck when he went to fuel it. It poured all over my brakes. basically from my first pit stop, I was running in fourth, basically like 2-3 seconds out of second and third were right in front of me. So like I had pace, and then I just basically lost all my brakes and wasn't really able to, you know, drive the way I needed to, especially for how tight the track was and how much brakes you needed. So yeah, it was just kind of a misfortune. I'm like, I told my dad afterwards, I'm like, everything was great. I'm like, but I definitely needed you.
Yeah, he had to do something. I think when riding bike, I can't remember what he was doing. He said he wasn't going to be there.
No, he had a job opportunity for the company he works for. Basically, he was up in Napa working. So I just said, like, I was like, I think we should be able to handle it, which we did. It just our pitting just wasn't that great. So
okay. Do you have any advice for any up and coming racers that are looking to get better or just do well in RC or just getting into it?
Yeah, I would say, like, to be honest, I mean, you could basically do the same thing I did. It's like you just put in your time. You know, you try to follow, maybe follow one professional that you like, and try to kind of just be like them, pretend like you're them and just practice professionally, and try to just to do everything right. Like, don't waste every time you're on the track, don't waste it. Like, basically, like, consider it as like a qualifier. Like, go, I'm going to run for 5 minutes without crashing, or you go, I'm allowed to crash twice. I want to try to push as hard as I can. When you basically have to go and flip over your own car, it's not that fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I was. You're at the track during the week, there's no one to flip your car over, so it's not that fun to walk off the driver's stand, come back on, and start driving again and crash again. So drive to your ability too. Don't make it where you're pushing so hard where you're crashing all the time. Drive to your ability, and then you just slowly, where you feel comfortable, then you push, and you just kind of step by step, and then you learn, like, man, I can push now the whole track. So that's kind of how I feel like I kind of practiced when I did. I just try to practice something. Every sport you could practice something, and you need to practice the right way, and I think that helps. So just doing it right. Don't waste your runs. Don't try to destroy your car, over, trying to push and crashing and braking. But just, like, make sure your equipment looks good too. You practice how you race too. So it's a lot of practice. What I did to pretty much make it to where I was. So it definitely takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication. So if you have all of it and you have, everything that you need to make it, then I think it's for sure, a fun career, fun job. It just takes a lot of time.
Yeah. So
if you have it, try it.
Yeah. And it takes time. It takes dedication, man. It takes sacrifice.
You're going to know within the first couple of years if you have it or not. Like, it's not going to be just one day you're at the track and it's like, boom, that was it. You're going to know if you have, the ability to make it, basically, off your driving. People are going to start recognizing it. So it's just not going to be magically over the night. Yep.
That's what everybody wants, instant results, so man. Lots of sacrifice.
As a job, a career, or you just enjoy it as a hobby and you have fun. So it's just, there's all different levels.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I have one more question, and then we have to go into the 10 question, 10 second segment. Are you excited for 2020, man? Are you,
I'm always excited. New year. Definitely going to use a new year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what your program's going to look like in 2020. And I'm excited to see you get on the podiums again, because I am a fan of yours. So,
yeah, I definitely, I put myself in the right position next year. I'll definitely, so I'll be right back where I was.
Cool. All right.
No questions.
So we have this little segment where I have 10 questions, and the point is to answer them in 10 seconds, like in like a second. Well, it never lasts a second, but
Okay.
All right. Sure. So the first question I have is, who's your biggest rival in RC? Mayfield. Okay. Number 2, name one guy who was very talented and that could have been a pro but quit too soon.
Josh Newman.
Josh Newman? Okay, I don't know him.
Yes, you don't know because he was good, but he just didn't try.
Okay.
That hard.
Yeah. Would he have been?
He's one of my good friends.
Would he have beaten you?
I don't know. He has. He finished like third at the Reedy Touring Car race one year. He was an off-road honor guy.
Okay.
He was another Kenwall lookalike body. His was blue though.
All right. Number
he
3.
Grew up in basically my era.
Okay, but you guys just produce fast RC guys.
Yeah,
like
he was
crazy.
True. He was actually Truey's friend.
Okay, good. True is another very talented guy. He still gets good results and doesn't even race much. It's pretty impressive. Number 3, name one race and a track from back in the day that you would like to get back, or that you can go race on one more time.
Minreg in Florida.
Okay. Number 4, what's a song right now in your playlist that you're ashamed to tell anybody?
I don't have any.
What? You don't listen to music?
I listen to music, but I'm not ashamed to tell anybody.
All right. What's a song in your playlist that somebody might be surprised you have it?
Well, there's a U2 that's always on my phone that I'd never downloaded.
Oh, yeah.
I have an iPhone, so somehow at iTunes it always gets it on there. I don't know. I listen to rap, so
yeah.
Basically, everyone always tells me rap is crap. So
well, not old school.
I
rap.
listen basically to Kevin Gates, and
yeah, he's good.
I have like Spotify, so it just like shovels.
Yeah. Who's your favorite rapper right now?
I like Kevin Gates. I like T.I.,
Mm-hmm.
Yellow Beezy. I don't know. Like I said, I just basically have like, it's funny because it's like I'm 33 and like people are like, oh, you don't listen to rap. But I met some guy over the weekend that's like basically my age. He's like, yeah, I grew up and listen to the same stuff. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever you grow up to, you still listen to. It's like you don't change because you're older.
I'm 40.
It's funny, but I would say I just stream my music, so I just flip through whatever's on.
I'm 41, dude, and I listen to hip hop. I listen to dancehall, like stuff that kids at 18 are listening to.
I listen to honestly anything. Country isn't my favorite. Like I wouldn't download a song. I'd listen to it. I wouldn't download it. But everything else I listen to.
Yeah. All right. Number 5.
I have to listen to a lot of music when I fly. So.
Yeah, that's true. Should get into some podcasts, man. Joe Rogan has some really good ones. Good podcasts.
Yeah.
Helps time go by too. Number 5. You've traveled a lot. What's your favorite country?
Italy.
Okay. Any reason why?
I'm Italian. I just love the Italian food. I just love the Italian people. Every time I've ever been to Italy, it's always been nice weather. So had a good time.
Well, number 6, being as you, when you was in Italy, you got to party that time. I was listening earlier. What's your favorite frosty beverage of choice?
Typically, it is usually a Coors Light, or it would be like a cranberry and vodka.
Okay.
Or a vodka soda, something like that. If it's hot and you need something refreshing.
Didn't I give you a Modelo at RCGP? I thought that would have changed.
I drink any beer, but like I would say, Coors Light's always just like the easiest.
All righty. Number 7. What is your favorite form of racing outside of RC?
Formula One.
Yeah, I like that. Who's your driver?
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, you know, he's the man. He is the man. Number 8. What is I wrote this and I'm saying it wrong. What is your dream full-scale car? If you could have any car in the world, what would it be?
I would say a Ferrari. Any supercar they have.
All right. This one you probably kind of answered, but if you didn't live in Cali, where would you live? Like if you had to move right now, where would you go?
I'd probably move to Europe.
Yeah, I like Europe, man. Liked Europe. I like to go Spain. This looks really good there.
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful places. It'd be hard for me to move out of Huntington or California. Well, let's just say Orange County.
And number 10.
I can consider Florida, but I would say Europe.
It's too hot down there, dude. It's too hot and humid down there. And they got alligators and anacondas and snakes and
exactly.
I call Florida Flostralia. It's like Australia, but the Americans.
It is.
All right. Now, number 10. Do you think you can win an 8-skill on-road if you put some time into it?
I'm going to say yes. I wouldn't ever say no.
I think you could win too, man. I think I think a good off-road racer can easily transfer over to on-road.
Yeah, I see Naoto. I see some guys that have raced in the past, basically, and they have good success. So I wouldn't say I couldn't do it.
Cool. Well, that's the end of the 10 questions, 10 seconds segment. I want to say thank you for coming on. I just want to have you do one thing for me. Oh, two things before you go.
Okay.
I had a little competition because this is our 50th episode, and I was like, guess who was going to be on her? And I said, the person has 2 nicknames, and only one guy guessed it. So I want you to say congratulations to Mason Henderson. He got some autograph stuff from the Euros.
Henderson or Henderson?
Mason Henderson. Say what's up.
Henderson.
Yeah.
All right.
Say congratulations
what's up, Mason Henderson. Congratulations on picking the 2 nickname guy, me.
Yeah. He actually got it, Cav and Pudge. So, but you ain't Pudge no more. So, and yeah. And hey, do you want to shout out to anybody before we sign off, dude?
Yeah, I would just like to shout out to basically everyone that has ever supported me, all our fans that we have around the world. Would like to thank all my sponsors, S-Works, Much More, J-Concept, Savox, OCRC, MIP, Lungsford, Darkside Design, Stick It One, PCH Hobbies, A-Main. Basically everyone that's ever, helped, basically making my career. I want to thank them.
And I want to thank you, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I know you don't do these much, so I appreciate it. And I think it's good. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you DNC, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll be looking forward to seeing you.
All right, dude. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, peace.
You are entering the Tekno RC GrassRoots Racer Spotlight. The part of the podcast that gives the listeners a platform to talk about RC. Brought to you by Tekno RC. Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.teknorc.com for a complete catalog of their products.
Okay, so the Tekno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight is back. Finally, we missed a few episodes while I was traveling. Missed it on the last episode. Life has been happening, so I've been a little bit busy. And this week is a guest of mine who actually drives a Tekno. He races quite a lot. He came out to RCGP. I got to finally meet him out there. He's originally from England. So I'd like to welcome Toby Hamson. What's up, Toby? How are you?
How's it going, Keenan?
I'm all right, dude. I just recently found out you're a Star Wars fan. That makes us even more like we're gonna be best friends. I'm pretty sure we are, because I'm a Star Wars fanatic. We'll talk about that later. But yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's cool.
So Toby, tell us where you're originally from, because you're originally from the UK, right?
I was born in Kent, in the southern quadrant of the UK, of England, and then I grew up in Sussex. So my family's still out there, down near Hastings.
Okay. And you've been living in America for how long now?
Since '97. So that's about 22 years.
Yeah, because you have an American UK accent now, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm kind of like sort of lost somewhere between the two worlds. When I go back to the UK, people say I sound a little weird.
I'm sure.
And then when I come, I'm obviously here, people say I sound weird. So
yeah. So did you get into RC in the UK?
No, I mean, recently it was kind of like around 2009 that I kind of rediscovered it. As a kid, when I was about 12, 13, me and my cousin played with, Tamiya's. He had a Wild Willie originally, and I was blown away when I saw it, and we used to hang out in the summer holidays, and I think I got a Hornet and, a Grasshopper and then a Hot Shot, and, just kind of be on there for a couple of years.
All right. So how did you get introduced back to RC back in 2009, you said?
Yeah, I guess, my kids have gotten a little older. I've got 2 boys who are now 20 and 16. So something around that time, 2009, I started looking around on eBay and, seeing all these old kits are out there, and started collecting cars and rebuilding them, to my eyes, hot shots and things. And then it just kind of got me more curious about racing. And I looked around on the internet, found a track by me about an hour away in Jefferson, New Jersey, went up there, and they race, they have an outdoor track that races in the summer, and then indoors they race inside in like a church, on a carpet track. And me and the boys went up there, and, that was when like slashes were pretty, kind of a thing. And we like went in there, and there was like, 10 slashes going on the track, and it was just like blown away. I think I went home and ordered one that night, and it just kind of all went from there.
Yeah, that started the snowball effect. That now, because dude, you race a lot. Like, you came to RCGP, you raced, like, you got a crap ton of track time there, and then like when you got home, I saw you was racing that following weekend, or even club racing that week.
Yeah, I mean, in the fall winter, I tend to try and do 10 scale racing most weekends, Friday nights. We have a great club racing scene here at my local track,
which is called,
which is awesome.
What's the track called?
It's called Critter Hobbies, it's literally 12 minutes from my door, so I can be there, super quick and hang out, And that's the great thing about 10 scale is, you can get so much more practice in. With 8 scale, you kind of just sort of turn up and you've got to practice and then you race, so.
Yeah. So you definitely, and then I see you might even be venturing into 12 scale.
Yeah, I've done it before over the years. Funny enough, Critters actually initially started out as a dirt track in 2011. Then they switched to carpet. So it was on road for, I guess, a couple of years, and then they went back to dirt. So during that time, I did some 12 scale F1, dabbled in touring car, and then I've done a little 12 scale, a couple other tracks before. So kind of fell in love with that class, but not really been able to do it in recent years. But now I'm getting that itch again.
So you recently traveled back to the UK. I believe you had to take your son over there to get him settled in university, and you got to do some racing. Was that the first time you've raced in the UK since you got into RC, or have you been over there before to race?
I went over there the previous year, actually. I got talking to Ben over at 1066, which actually is a pretty awesome track or club that has gotten started since I've lived here, actually. So they weren't in existence when I was, a younger version of myself. So I went over there actually and raced on grass, which was quite amusing.
Really?
They do that. Yeah, they do that during the summer, and they roll out, some big ropes and some jumps on like the side of a cricket field.
Yeah.
And then they race there kind of during the summer months when it's quieter. It's a small group of guys, but it was quite an interesting experience. And I had a really good time. So Ben had showed me the facility they have for the winter track, and I really wanted to go over there and try that. So this was the first time I'd actually driven on, EOS carpet in that facility.
Okay. So, I mean, well, obviously 10 scale is super big in the UK. We listen to Aidan's podcast and Gups podcast. And obviously it has to be because, the weather's just not cooperative over there. I guess you kind of go through the same thing up there in New Jersey. You have to go through winter and whatnot. But definitely 10 scale is really healthy in the UK and 8 scale during the summer. So, yeah, good stuff. So what did you notice any differences racing over there in the UK compared to racing in America?
Yeah, I mean, I talked a bit about that in my recent blog posts. They have, 10 scale super healthy, kind of like a club level. And they just seem to have a different approach. Really, there's just like I'd said before, just like two classes really. And 2-wheel drive is the predominant class, and then obviously 4-wheel drive buggy. But it's 2-wheel drive open, 4-wheel drive open. That's pretty much it. And a little bit of truck racing, when guys show up. But it's, as an example, that race I went to at 1066, it was a Sunday afternoon, evening race, 50 guys, 50 buggies. We turn up, bang out a program. No bump ups. Everyone ended up in, the A through E main. Had a great time, raced, qualified and raced and went home, mostly happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They weren't worried about the fact that they didn't get to bump up. They didn't worry about they didn't get a trophy or whatever. They just had a good laugh about it and then said, see you next week.
That is the one good thing about UK and Europe is that they still really have clubs and that you become a part of. And I guess it's more like more camaraderie and whatnot, I guess I would say. So that's one thing I've always said that we've kind of gotten away from, that in America, no more real clubs. Yes, you have tracks that people are a part of and affiliated with, but actual clubs and organizations that, do things besides just racing at the track and whatnot, So that's one good thing. The one positive thing, and I think that's probably why racing is healthy in the UK and Europe. So you did mention your blog, which I do read every time it comes out. It's a really good blog. You did some really good stuff on RCGP. Being as you're here, let's just get your opinion on RCGP, because you was very vocal about it, how you think it's going to be great. You and Matt Navoso and Anders, who I've talked to before, and the Cotta brothers. So it was a pretty decent contingent from the Northeast up there. And they did well. The Cotta brothers did well, and you guys did all right. How was your experience at the RCGP race? First time in California.
Yeah, it was my first time traveling for 8 scale. So that was a kind of a very unique and exciting and anxiety-provoking experience.
Really? Did you get the TSA mess with you?
No, actually, I mean, me and Matt chat a lot, so we've done a lot of, brainstorming about how to pack all that stuff. So, we actually got right through, no issues like that. I mean, the event was pretty groundbreaking, in terms of just like the format, and the sheer amount of track time that you got. Just having that kind of capped entry count just gave provided for so much more flexibility to have a really kind of thorough program, where you really feel like you're getting kind of every dollar of your entry fee,
Yeah.
In the RC2 class. So
yeah, it's I think a lot of people that went to that race, that's the first time a lot of them. I mean, obviously they've probably been to like the nationals, a good bit of people, but that's the first type of race with a really capped entry, one class, and I think the majority of people really enjoy. I mean, by Saturday, people were literally telling me that they were burnt out from running so much. So I guess that's a good thing,
That's pretty funny.
That's a good thing, but I think it was a great event. It was good to meet you and Matt, and you guys seem excited. I'm excited for 2020 and whatnot. But so I want to touch on your blog as well. Mm-hmm. Now that started, I think Jay was telling me how that whole Team 46 and all that stuff started, because you guys have some really badass shirts at RCGP. So why don't we just trace back and tell us about 46 and your blog and how that all started?
Yeah, so 46RC, how it came about was Critters, my local track, where the owners were considering closing it down, and I have a pretty decent relationship with the owners since when they opened the track, and the owner Aldo approached me and suggested hey, do you want to take over the track? Try and keep it open. I was like, yeah, of course, absolutely. It's it's my local track. I wouldn't know where to go if I didn't have a track 12 minutes from my door. So, my whole idea was to get a group of guys together. We had, I think, 5 other guys, to kind of form like a board, I guess, and run the track. But the thought was, you know, to have these guys who we could all kind of share
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the operational stuff of running events, maintaining the track, kind of
Like
running
a
the
club.
business. Yeah.
Like a board, a treasurer, and president, and all that stuff.
Yeah. But you know, it didn't. It kind of we kind of ran into trouble pretty quickly, like internally within the 6 guys. You know, with some kind of, you know, the typical kind of power struggles or people, you know, having differences of opinion. So we shrunk the team down to like 3 guys, which was me, Matt, and another, and actually me, Matt, and Jay actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we ran the, you know, the track really well. We had a great year, probably the most successful year that they'd had, really just through, you know, a lot of promotion, marketing, and just really with a kind of 100% focus on club racing. You know, getting people in, week out. You know, podium photographs for those club winners. You know, giving them cool little stickers. You know, for their top 3 finishes. You know, really did a great job. But then we kind of ran into some challenges with the owners, and they basically took the track back. Okay. So, you know, so it's still running today, which is great. And actually, the year after we had finished running it, they did really well, so that's good. I got involved again in a slightly different capacity, but you know, afterwards I thought about it, you know, and you know, we'd gotten such a big outreach with the whole kind of 46RC concept, you know, of promoting, you know, good racing, good club racing, that I decided to kind of keep the brand, if you want to call it that, and as, you know, as just like a promotion and marketing brand, you know, to try and push out the message, you know, and get people engaged and involved. So a couple of things I maintain, you know, we have I have a regional race calendar, which is one thing that's up on the 46RC blog. So I try and put, you know, all local races in there, actually some regional, national ones, so people just can align their, you know, their racing program with that. And another thing I have is it's like a regional setup. I call it a regional setup database. So anyone who has a good setup for any of the local tracks, carpet, turf, 8 scale, you know, send them to me and I put them up there. And then, you know, anyone getting into the hobby, they can go straight there and, you know, find their setup for their, you know, their TLR 5.0 or their X-Ray XB4 for, you know, one of the local tracks from one of the local guys and go grab that. And, you know, it's a great way to kind of get a starting point for people either getting into the hobby or people who are changing brands, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm actually on the website now looking at it. I've only really read your blogs. I never actually went on the website and looking at the calendar. That's that's damn good because calendars are great. Too bad we don't get more of them in RC. Recently you just wrote 2 really good blogs. One was about the class issue that we have that we kind of touched on, and the other one was some stats about your region, which was really like when you put numbers to that, you can see the decline. Like you had 2017, 2018, like for critters, like basically 2017 entry total was 1,444, 2018 1,523, and it's 2009. There are 9 weeks left. 718 and like entries total. That's like half. Yes, there's time to go, so maybe it will get up to 1,000. But wow, and every one of them is declining. Why? I wonder why that's happening. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting. I'd posted this on Facebook last week, and there was quite a lot of lively discussion. And it seems to be kind of like a combination. A lot of people put it down to, and I hinted at it a little bit, kind of demographics. You know, some of the racers are getting older, they're having children, they have more outside responsibilities. They can't make time for RC anymore. You know, some people talk about the expense. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to kind of gather, you know, as much data on, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to sort of change the world or save the world. But,
yeah, but
you know,
when you put, when you put numbers to it, that's when it kind of slaps you in the face. You know?
Yeah, that's what I thought was the idea behind this, was like, when you let me just go grab the data and put it, you know, because I get a feeling, you know. So Cruising is my local turf track. Super nice guys up there, Ron and Steve, who run the facility. They actually have a great hobby store too. But their numbers. I'd been up there to club race, turf club race, a couple of times, about 3 times this summer, and there was just nobody there, just dead. You know.
Wow.
And you know, so you can, I could sense, you know, that it was just bad. But wanted to see the data, you know, and just, you know, minus 72% since 2019
Insane.
over 2017 is horrendous.
It is, dude. And I mean, in some regions in the U.S. or in the world, RC is doing okay, but there's lots that aren't. And as I get to know more guys from the Northeast, I realize how big it is up there, you know, and how big RC is up there. You have a lot of 8-scale tracks, a lot of 10-scale tracks. And I think it always comes down to we're not getting new people into our hobby / sport. And it's always the same conundrum. How do we do that? And I think I always say we have to attack this from all angles. Have you ever sat down and thought, how can we get new people into this? I mean, you ran a track for a year. What did you guys do to attract new people to come into that track and get back and race again, or people that used to race to come back and race?
Yeah, it's a complicated challenge for sure. It was interesting actually. Last night we had a club race at Critters, and there was actually kind of a lot of new faces, which was quite exciting to see. But it doesn't happen every week, and they don't tend to stick around. That's the thing, you know. We were looking at all the entries. We had 44 entries for a club race, which is, you know, we could do better, but it was okay. That was a good club race. You know, there was a lot of faces that, you know, a lot of locals and regulars just weren't there. They've just sort of disappeared. You know, so there was a few new guys. But one thing we did last year, we developed a spec buggy class. I branded it kind of under the 46RC umbrella, I guess. But a local guy, Rich Ford, who's a hardcore stock racer, put it together with him. You know, we have, you know, it's basically kind of any 2-wheel drive buggy. You got to run a Reedy closed-end Bell 17.5 motor. Critters sells them for $50, so they actually discount them, basically sell them for cost. You got to run that motor. There's fixed gearing. You know, you can't charge at anything higher than, I think, 6 amps or something, and you max of 8.4 volts, you know, and no sponsored drivers. And that's kind of like our way to bring people in, other than the sportsman route. You know, sportsman could just be like a giant half-fest. You know, you get some guy coming in with a 4-wheel drive short course, some guy with a 2-wheel drive buggy, and, you know,
that's not going to work.
So they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna want to come back. You know,
I love the idea of a spec buggy class. Like when Associated brought out those club racer cars, I was so hoping that would catch one. Yeah, me too. And you know, I think it was a great idea and a great start. It didn't really seem to. Because it's funny because I told Joseph the other day. I said, because I'm reading your blog about mod and stock and how you had much more controllable power on the stock and whatnot. And I get it. I'm not like the biggest fan of stock. I get that it's a big class in America, but it seems, I was saying to Joseph, I said, it's like stock is mod and mod is stock. Like everybody that wants to tinker and go crazy does it in stock, and mod is like for people who just want to slap, you know, whatever. Just like, just want to go racing, which is, I mean, there's no real, you know, clear differentiation in speed at Critters on probably most small club size tracks. I mean, last night I ran a mod buggy against a field of stock buggies, and you know, I got my ass handed to me by a stock buggy. You know, it's just, you know, stock is just an easier, controllable speed. So I think it's, you know, I hinted to this in my blog about how just, you know,
if we'd all could just run together, and then as a racer, you decide how you want to power your car. I think it would just make for better racing if there was 3 heats of one class versus 3 separate heats.
Man.
Everyone makes the A, but is that really that much of an achievement?
Yeah, and then like when you try to sell stock to, I'm just talking about 10 scale stuff and just listening to people, because I don't do 10 scale at all. We don't have anywhere to do it here. Yeah. But when I was in England, I enjoyed just running on carpet and AstroTurf. When you talk to somebody about stock and then they're talking about, you got to get this $150, $175 motor and you got to get this special charger. That's definitely not how we get new people in. So spec something is definitely the way. Just like spec tires at RCGP, I thought was great. Spec buggies, spec tires, spec motors, something. This is what we need to get new people in. I don't know. We always say this, is that Traxxas always comes up with something to get new people in. They got the Revo, then they had the Slash, and that started everything. But short course is unfortunately dying now, which is a shame because it's a great class, but it got too serious as well. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I definitely think they have it right in the UK. Race on turf, lots of traction, turf for carpet, traction, run what you bring. Simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing is, is you're a new racer wanting to get in the hobby. Now all of our dirt tracks are, pretty much all high traction tracks, right? Especially indoors. I mean, probably like 98% of tracks indoors are all, super clean, prepared surface, mostly a slick or ghosted tire, with sauce. As a new person coming in, there's a big learning curve.
Oh yeah.
So last night we had a new guy. He literally walked in the store last week. He bought a 2-wheel drive buggy and everything else. He built it. He came back to race it, and he mounted up his Proline primes and expected to go out there and just did donuts. Because you need that tire needs to be broken in.
Yeah.
It needs to be sourced a few times. So that's a hard challenge. Which makes turf and carpet more appealing, because you literally mount our tires and you got instant traction. You can have the worst setup car, you can still get around the track.
Yeah.
But then, to me, coming in and making that association between a real off-road car, like a short course, a full-scale short course truck. You see it go around the track, dirt flying everywhere, and then you think, I want to go race a scale version of that, and then you go in and this track's green, made of AstroTurf, not really the parallel there that you're looking for. So I can see it kind of hard to get into,
Yeah, I get that. Well, we were talking before we came on air that 2020, it's all about the Northeast, man. You guys have the fuel nats up there at LCRC, so I suppose you'll be there. You also have the 10 scale nats at Mimi's.
Yep.
So the Northeast is going to be banging next year. I mean, it's got a pretty healthy. LCRC gets a lot of people to their track to race. They have a couple of big races, and I know Barnstormers gets a lot of 8 scale guys up there. But it looks like I'll finally be coming to the Northeast for a race.
Yeah, no, I mean this could be super exciting. LCRC had probably their biggest year yet. I think they had record numbers for the Mugen Challenge, which is their big yearly summer race in August, and the Cancer race in September. So Kevin and Krista run an amazing program, like no other in the region really. So yeah, that's going to be super exciting. I think everybody's going to be trying to get into that race. So
that's going to sell out so fast.
Yeah, I mean, even this year's nationals in Thornhill sold out in something like 28 seconds or something. So
who knows? It's crazy. It's insane. All right, dude. So you're a Star Wars fan. Are you a fan of the books or just the movie timeline?
Yeah, I'm not much of a reader, so I'm bad at movies.
I thought I was going to be able to get in a serious Star Wars debate with you.
No, I'm a disappointment in that front.
Damn it. Gotta find my RC guy who reads the Star Wars books. All right, well, that's cool. I really liked your Shadow Trooper costume. That was pretty badass. Pretty badass.
Yeah. I wore it to Comic-Con actually last year. Walked around Manhattan in it, which, was a pretty chafing experience, as you can imagine. But, funny, a lot of people go, oh, look, there's Darth Vader. And I'm, just like,
no, I'm a shadow trooper. Get it right.
Yeah.
Get it right. Yeah, but what other hobbies do you have? I see you ride mountain bikes. I see, you're a pretty busy dude. You're blogging.
Yeah, the blogging thing's a recent thing, I guess. I do a little mountain biking. That's not much else really, RC's kind of my biggest, main interest,
Your biggest vice? Your biggest vice, your biggest addiction is RC?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Is there anything you would like to see that if you could change one thing in RC, what would you change right now?
That's a good question. I mean, I would like, the stuff that I talk about, I think that I would like to see change. So that's the great thing about RCGP, is, it shows that, you can do things a lot differently, a lot more creatively, bring a lot more value to the racer and the viewer, So, there's that question posed yesterday on Facebook, should we have multiple USA races? And, I think that's great, but, it should be a true World Series. I'd like to see it stay that way. But I think that what people should take away from, the RCGP is, look, why don't we make more races like RCGP? It doesn't have to be RCGP. Let's take that format and do it ourselves.
I think people need to understand that. Yes, I get why, people have these high entry counts, and you have to run 2-3 classes at other races so you can get track time, because it's to a minimum. But you don't really have to do that, But it's hard, I guess, and people want to run e-buggy and truggy as well. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, my other thought was, I'd written another blog a few weeks back about, how we have all these different, different classes, sportsman, open, pro in the 8-scale world, So you end up with these events that have like 15 different classes, these big 600 entry races. I'd like to see you just have 3 classes, buggy, truggy, 4, right? E-truggy, e-buggy, nitro buggy, nitro truggy, and everybody sign up for the 4 classes, and then you race your qualifiers, and then once you're done qualifying, when the mains are produced, you then basically so for like electric buggy, you take the top 20% and call them pro.
That was a good blog too.
30%, the next 30% are your intermediates, and then the bottom 40 or 50 are your sportsman drivers.
Right.
And then you race, you race at that level, and then you come away, within that grouping, and so you say, hey, I won my sportsman grouping, and so that way you really race where you qualify. You can't sign up, you're sponsored and you sign up as sportsman,
yes.
You won't, this will actually reflect where you are as a driver, versus where you think you are as a driver. So, I think that would be something that
I think so too. I think so too. All right, Toby. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. I'm going to let you go. Thank you for your time. We've been trying to get you on this podcast for a while now, but, conflicting schedules. Me having daddy duties. Is there anybody you'd like to say thank you to or shout out to anybody before we sign off here?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to shout out to my all the tracks in the area and afar. So obviously shout out to Critters, my local home track. LCRC out in Oakland Mills, Pennsylvania. Rohan and the Barn Crew up there in Chester, New York. Steve and Ron up at Cruisin', my local turf track. The guys over at Trains, so Juan and Marco and the and Dwayne, the crew up there. Shout out to my friend Ben over in England at 1066.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess lastly, my the companies that I race with. So Tekno RC, Tekin, Proline, J&T Bearings, Ticket One, JTPRC, and obviously lastly Critters.
Yeah.
So that's.
I want to shout out to Matt, Anders, and Jay. All cool guys. I haven't met Jay personally yet, but yeah, seem to be a great group of guys.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. Matt's funny too, makes me laugh. So
Yeah, angry little elf. That's what we call him.
No way. All right, dude. Well, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you at RCGP. Hopefully I'll see you. We'll cross paths again in 2020. And keep up the blog, man. I enjoy it. The blog is, I have it here as teamtobymeister.com.
Yeah, I think it's what is it? teamtobymeister.wordpress.com.
Okay,
so.
and it's 46rc.wordpress.com as well for all the Northeast calendar and all that good stuff. So thank you, dude. Enjoy the rest of your day and keep on racing, man, and keep on blogging because I enjoy them. For
sure, man. I guess I'll see you at Full Brawl.
Yeah, it's not confirmed yet, but yeah, I should be there.
Nice.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
We are now at that point of the show where you should fasten those seatbelts and put your big boy pants on. Whoa. Things are about to get serious. It's time for the JQ Racing Rant.
Welcome to the JQ Racing Rant. This is the part of the podcast that, it gets rowdy. It gets a little testy. It's definitely not PG-13, so it's definitely R-rated. So if you don't like banter, cursing, jokes, all that type of stuff, we understand that. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We appreciate your support. But now it's time to get serious and get down to the nitty-gritty of everything. So this week's rant is all about carpet and AstroTurf racing. Is it real off-road? Is it the savior of off-road? It's growing fast. What's going on? Do you like it? Don't you like it? All that type of stuff. So joining me this week is the one and only, and he's in sheriff mode, Rupert, the Sheriff Pumpernickels. So, Astro and carpet racing. Me, I'm a fan of it. I did it in England. I enjoyed it. It was simple. It was easy. It was plug and play. I just got back into RC. I totally understand why it's big in the UK because of the weather. It's a very big class. I listen to Aidan's podcast and Gups podcast a lot. It's all about 10 scale. Yes. And I see that Astro and carpet racing is growing really big in America. Really big. Like more and more turf and Astro tracks are coming in because it's less maintenance. You can change track design and all that type of stuff. So what do you think, Mr. Pumpernickels?
I hate carpet racing. I just really hate it for off-road. It's like driving on Velcro. It's no fun. No fun at all.
You also hate 10 scale tire prep for high bike clay.
Yeah, I do, but it's still clay racing is a lot more fun than carpet. But I mean, there's some good things to the carpet racing too. So the good things about carpet racing, I think, is it provides more opportunities for tracks.
Mm-hmm.
You can have more tracks this way. You can't have indoor dirt tracks everywhere,
no.
But you can really have a carpet track everywhere because you can just build a track for a weekend, for example, in a school or in a sports hall or something like that. That's
or in a mall or in front of people.
Yeah, or in a shopping mall for a race like that. Was it
MK?
What was it called? MKGP.
Yeah, or British GP. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good thing about it. So I think there is a place for carpet racing and even for off-road where it's a carpet track with jumps. But I do think that the carpet racing we have now, like the typical EOS racing, I'm sure everyone has seen. I think that could be improved on. And one thing that we used to do back in the days, we would run slick tires on carpet with additive. So there the problem is the additive, really, because I don't like the additive aspect to it. You know, chemicals and stuff. We don't really want to be dealing with that if we can avoid it. But it's just so much more fun to drive because it's not like driving on Velcro. The cars still slide a bit. It's like this sort of high grip dirt track feel to it, even though you are on carpet. And I think that's what we should be trying to achieve. Also, it would make it so you can build sort of jump sections and whoops and these sorts of obstacles on the track, which are a bit of a pain right now because the cars don't slide at all. They're like completely locked in. So I've never really liked the jump sections they have in EOS. And maybe it's because of the whole traction problem, that you can't slide the car at all. You can't land at all sideways. You have to be completely straight. So if they figured out a way to run a lower grip tire without an additive problem, then they could also build much more off-roady and cool tracks. Mm-hmm. And that's really the sort of carpet off-road that I would like to see. Also, it would be easier, more fun to drive. The cars don't traction roll. And also, I think now a problem is that the tire expenses can be quite high. The tires do wear out pretty quick. You know, the pin tires that they run on carpet now. And also the cars themselves wear out really quick. Everything on the car wears out because the traction is so high. So, yeah, I think there is a place for carpet racing, but I think the way it's done today isn't the best. I think it could be improved with maybe a different tire choice and then working on track builds.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's why I think it's growing in popularity is we always talk about always doing something, man. We're trying to talk, making a whole bunch of ruckus. We're always talking about how do we grow the industry, grow our hobby. Like I remember Billy Tylaska talks about it. Even Jason Rouna talks about it. We need to have somewhere where these new people can, like, let's be realistic. Yes, I love 8-scale nitro racing, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's something that you have to build up to, right? But first we need to get people hooked with something, like, so we need to show like the upper echelon of our sport. But we need to have that class or that area where people can get involved. I think carpet racing is cheaper. You don't have to. The one thing that I really dislike is this whole stock mod thing. I get it, why people like stock. I get that. I honestly do. But I actually think stock should be called mod and mod should be called stock, if that makes sense. Because there's a lot more modding and stuff going on in stock racing than it is actual stock racing.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
You know, in the UK, there's no real stock or mod. You bring whatever you can. If you want to run a 5.5 turn motor and somebody wants to run a 13.5 turn or 17.5 turn, it doesn't matter. You all race the same thing. The traction levels of carpet and EOS make it easier for that new person to come in and enjoy it. You know, they don't have to. Let's be realistic. Like, there's limited tires that work, and yes, the tires were out, but they still last long enough. It's just easier for new people. Like you said, all the pluses of carpet, you can get that in front of people. In fact, I just watched a video of Die Hard RC up there in Washington, where they transformed a basketball court into a 10-scale track with AstroTurf. I always talk about my time do you have to type while I'm talking? I always talk about my time in the UK at Silverstone when we used to go up there and build a track in an hour. You can have a completely new layout, you know, every race. Everything's positive. That's the whole positive things about carpet and AstroTurf. And it's really growing a lot in America. Like, it's really catching on now. It's something that's been in Europe forever.
Yeah. Go on.
I do think it creates some bad habits because, like, I heard, I was listening to Extra Lap, and they had this kid, Matthew Gonzalez, I think that's his name, Yokomo driver, and he he won the stock class at this race that I guess it was a J Concepts indoor carpet race. I don't know, the same race that Cavalieri was in, and he talked about it. Now, this kid brought up some good points, man. He's like, I really like carpet and AstroTurf. My car stays clean. It's just easy. And I ain't got to, he goes, I went to some track, Hobby Action. And, between the tire sauce and people burning in tires and all that stuff, it made me sick. And just like not a good smell. Now, we went to OCRC the other day, and it was a little bit off, the smell, but you got used to it. I just think for a new person coming in, if they saw all the work that people do to prep their tires for clay racing, I would be like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to slap these tires on, drop my card on, slap the fastest motor I can in, and go race carpet or AstroTurf. Boom, you get instant people in. Hopefully some of them people graduate to 8 scale, but I think that's definitely one of the ways to get new people in, is to get them on AstroTurf or carpet. Then they can graduate to dirt, 8 scale, all that type of stuff. It's like steps. Everything's steps. So I don't really see any negative things about it on that side, to what you just mentioned about trying to make it feel more off-roady, stuff like that. But I'm all for carpet and AstroTurf racing. I'm all for it. It can be done everywhere. It can be, it's easy to do. For instance, right now, I think for the first time in 20 plus years, Bermuda's not going to have a race season because guys just aren't into it no more. They can't get no new people in to the 8 scale racing because it's expensive. Like Bermuda's expensive. Like people in America complain about racing. They need to come to Bermuda and see how much racing costs, They can't get new people in because it's just like people get discouraged. Tracks are hard, can't tune engine. I get all of that. So I've been telling these guys, I'm telling like in the WhatsApp group, I was like, man, you guys need to really look at like getting a hall or getting like somewhere and getting some AstroTurf and doing some 10 scale racing, because I think that will get people into it, and then you can take them down and show them the dirt track. They haven't listened to me yet, but hopefully they do. I just think it's a great gateway to get people into RC. But then, like, the only thing, like I said, it creates bad habits. So.
Well, I just think that it could be even more fun if they pick a different tire for the racing. So I'm not into the carpet off-road racing scene really, because I don't enjoy it. I've tried it and it's not for me. So I don't know for sure, but for example, I saw a video of, I think it was David Ronnefalk running.
He was flying,
with a Schumacher honeycomb tire, which is some, I think, newish tire from Schumacher. And he was running that on carpet, and it just immediately looked nicer, because the car would slide a bit. It wasn't completely hooked in like Velcro. So maybe if there was a solution where there's a control tire, but the control tire is such that it doesn't have as much traction as the tires they use now, and if there's a way to run without using additive, I think that's the way to go, really. Just lower the traction available, but don't make it so some people cheat and have a big advantage. Like if there's a way to make it like that somehow. So it's more like running on dirt as for traction level, but still it's carpet. And then I think it can be even better than it is now.
Yeah, it's definitely growing, man. It's good to see. But then again, I mean, you look at probably, I guess, let's just look at OCRC, which is probably the most successful track in America, I want to say. Like, I guess. It's definitely like every person that comes to California has to go to OCRC. It's like, even if you don't run 10 scale. I mean, I enjoyed my time there. So, and people seem to go there and flock there and they race. I don't know how tire wear is. How does, you've raced there more.
The problem with clay indoors in America is that you have to break in the tires and then they work for a bit and then they fade. So if you want the maximum performance, then it's a lot of work. But if you just want to run and just have fun. And yeah, they last a long time.
So it's like a give and take, man. We need both, but I definitely understand why track owners are going to Astro and carpet. It's just easier. And I understand why people are attracted to it. It's just easier, man. So I don't know. What do you guys, the listeners, think? This isn't more of a rant. This is just observations that I was making. And I think we need both, but I definitely think Astro and carpet is a great way to get new people into it. And hopefully, that leads to bigger and better things as well. So I don't know, but I don't think Astro and turf racing is going anywhere. I actually think it's going to be bigger next year and should be good. Anyway, let us know in the comments what you guys think. Joseph, anything to add before we go on any further? Do you have any rant? You haven't thought of anything you really want to rant about lately? It's kind of slowing down in RC. I'm sure we have plenty to rant about coming in 2020, leading up to 2020.
Yeah, I mean, not really.
Yeah.
It was like a mellow rant saying that I think off-road racing on carpet could be a lot better with a different tire choice and better tracks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's going to end our podcast this week. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Thank you to our sponsors, RCMX Online, Euro RC, BK Servers, Tekno RC, 454 RC Works, Bipolar Designs, JQ Racing, Assault RC, and everybody else that supports us. Shout out to the No Name RC Podcast squad from around the world. We can't do it without you guys. We appreciate your support. Remember, we're platinum planning for 2020. Looking good. Got a few cool guests coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Remember, this is episode 50, man, and coming up on a year anniversary. And congratulations to the winner of the Mason Henderson, who's the winner of the... We got to send him out one of those wings. Are you bringing the rest of the Euro swag over when you come?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to send him a... You know what? We'll send him a body. We'll send him one of the bodies that got autographed. He's in Canada. We got to figure out how to get it to him. So I'm sure he'll contact us. But he guessed the guest for episode 50. And hey, man, have fun in Asia. I guess we probably won't even... I don't know if we even talk. I don't know if we'll be able to record while you're over there.
Yeah, I should do. I have a VPN, so...
All right.
I'm in for over there. I get one. And
yeah, have some...
Because China blocks all the websites, like all social media. They block Gmail. So I can't even access my email over there. So
yeah, so you need a VPN.
When I'm over there, there's this VPN you can use. So I use that.
Yeah, hopefully one day hopefully I get to get over there one day and see how things are done. It'd be interesting. Thank you for your time, Joseph. Safe travels, man. I know we're kind of be all friendly. We ain't really fucked each other off this week. So you know what? Just for good old time's sakes, Joseph, go fuck yourself.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
Remember, everybody, Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills, and if you ain't grinding,
I've turned over a new leaf. I'm all nice now.
Too nice to everybody besides me.
I just say thank you.
Oh, hold on. Rewind. I forgot completely. I forgot all about this. Probably. I'm every day I get more convinced about this, but I really thought that the RC News Unlimited article on you was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, you laugh. I can hear it in your laugh. I can hear it in your little evil little laugh. Like, I can hear it, dude. I can hear it. It was so funny.
You really think that's me, right?
I fucking convinced that you are contributing somewhat to somehow to that fucking website.
Yeah. Well, you aren't the only one. I can tell you that.
Yeah. And you know what? Fuck. That article was so funny.
It is pretty good. I like it.
Yeah. Go check it out, guys. It's actually pretty funny.
It's just that there isn't enough of it. Like, the 10 scale Worlds was good. There was something every day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, since then I don't think there's been anything. So they need to step it up. But I understand because like when I was doing the blog, I did it every day with fucking ridiculous. But it's hard because when you do it and you don't make any money for it, it's like at some point you just reach the point where I need to be doing something else with my time. So I completely understand. I wish the industry was bigger, where like a website like that, quality content, it's funny, like people read it, they laugh about it. But I don't think there's any way for them really to make money doing it. So I don't know if there's a future for that. Like, I don't know how long they'll keep doing it. You see what I mean? But if there was a way to make money with a website like that, it would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Coming up with content is not easy. I know. I have to do it weekly. But it can be done. But that was actually really funny. Rupert. Or should I call you Robert Murdoch?
Remaining against the odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
All right, dude. Remember, Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Thank you all for the support. Episode 50 done. Joseph, you owe me a few beers for doing episode 50. Yeah.
E-Buggies pay your mom's bills.
Yeah. See. You know what? Go fuck yourself.
Cool.
See you later. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your weekend of racing. Lefty out.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. Please tune in next time for more fresh RC content. And if you can, please also support us on patreon.com/thequaygrain. We will greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, Nitro is the glory.